yo, no maniacs, super no maniacs, and all in between. Welcome to another edition of Some Extra Sauce, man. We're going to have a good show tonight. A lot of hot topics to talk about. Listen to pretty much every podcaster, every reporter that was out there on the field. The best we can do is gather information and bring it to you all. And as no maniacs, super no maniacs file up in here, I know all those got a show going on right about now at the same time, I believe. So I understand, some people may not be here. They might go back and forth. I get all that, man, because I'm still fans of the bar room. I'm a fan of the bar room. And so I catch those shows when I can. But, man, tonight is about us. Triple R's in the building. He's getting him some beverages ready. But Keds might be out of town right now. And I'm not sure exactly how his situation is going. He may or may not be here because I believe he's in a hotel somewhere. He might boot up his computer and get on and jump in the stream. We never know. But his show is live on Keds of Canucks channel. So make sure you guys go over there and do your thing over there on his channel. Hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Do the same over here and the same for Triple R's channel, some Sports Chicago style. So we would appreciate that in advance. Before Triple R gets on here, let me so I was very, very, some of the news that came out of the OTAs today felt really, really good. Shout out to White Ghost, first person in the chat. Shout out to you, my guy. The news I heard out of training camp was very, very encouraging because you've been hearing about a lot of up and down, offense, and you expect that with the new offense, new coach, new coordinators, and the whole 9 yards. You expect that. I know I have tried to make sure the No Maniacs and the Super No Maniacs understood that there's nothing cookie cutter about what Caleb Williams' offense and everybody involved in it is going through. And Triple R, I think, is ready to give me a thumbs up when you feel like you are. Here we go. And my guy Triple R. But I was telling No Maniacs, Super No Maniacs that there's no cookie cutter solution to a new coach and a new offense. And you've heard struggles throughout, OTAs. This is the second OTAs and the first mandatory OTA. So, it was encouraging hearing some of that stuff come out of there. But I got hella details about all the news that I heard coming out of it. And I can't wait to talk about it. So before we get into all of that, Triple R, you want to tell everybody how you doing, man? I'm finna alley-oop through the rock. What you going to do with it?
I'm going to do a nice, easy, just finger roll lay. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm not going to slam it home. It's early. But yeah, big up to all. Excuse me. I'm just poured a fresh beverage. Nice ice cold beer, a few olives, a little olive juice. It's beautiful.
Ooh, I never tried that.
Yeah, that's a Minnesota thing. When they get on they snow machines, snowmobiles, and they do bar crawls, except it's like bar snow machines. And so they go from one bar to the other, turning up. And this is one of their drinks that they be having. And so, yeah.
You ever been up there doing that? Because I heard FFG is from Minnesota. He tells me a few stories from there. You ever been there and done that?
I have been in Minnesota. I have not done the sport snow machine bar crawl. And the one thing I will say about Minnesota is, like, you notice things culturally when you go different places. A lot of indigenous Americans.
I love it. I wonder, hey, you know what? I wonder, do the police roll up on cats and pull them over because they drunk driving on a snowmobile?
Well, I'm sure that is a thing, but there are so many trails and backwood places that it's kind of accepted. And it seems to me that the people that I've met that have done that are not overindulgent like your typical American. And so they realize that they are drinking and operating a motorized vehicle. So they do stay within, limits and control of themselves. Because people will die on those things, I mean, that's just what it is. But yeah, big up to all FFG and all the purple heads up there. Prince, one of my favorites, rest in peace. But yeah, Sports Chicago style. I heard No Maniac mention that, as that is my channel. Then also Keds, the Canuck, show his channel some love. And as I I guess, taking the vice presidency role here. I'll say what up to the white ghost, Mr. Mayhem, Mr. Charles, as always, and take it easy on no man. He don't mean no harm, mister. He don't mean no harm.
I'm harmless. I'm harmless, Minister.
Rodriguez, and everybody that is joining in. As I'm looking forward to hearing about and discussing and sharing thoughts on what's going on in OTAs. So let's rock.
Hey, you know what? Before we get to all that, you got me started because one of my favorite things to do is bar hop. I don't know, like I've gone in different places. Like there's a place in Columbus, Ohio that you know people are frequent. You go to get the college strip. Of course you're gonna run into bar after bar after bar like that. But in a general locale, like there's a place in what is that city? In Indianapolis, like down by the stadium. Like that's a general district where you can move around and go to bar, and you can do it all on foot. You know what I mean? I love doing shit like that. I love bar hopping. That's one of my joys, man. I like hanging out and being about the people. Yeah, I love beer. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be drinking hard liquor everywhere I go, but it wouldn't be a surprise to find me somewhere in a place like that. I might go hit 9 spots and have a beer or two in every last one of them before it's all said and done. And you know, never know. Might end up with a scallywag or something.
What I was always the service industry side of that deal, you know, working the door, doing gigs, working security. So I'm familiar with pub crawls. I was just never big into drinking, so I didn't do them. But I'm also familiar with the pub scavenger hunts. So it's not just go from bar to bar and turn up. It's like, all right, go to this bar and figure out what this picture on the wall is, or find, you know, this banner or pendant, depending on what kind of bar you're in. You know, but there are all kinds of social activities like that. And this is, you know, some people choose not to participate because they're not drinkers, and being in bars is a dangerous thing for them to be because they're not drinkers by choice, but by physiology. You know, alcohol don't agree with them, makes them do bad shit. Yeah, I feel that. You know what I mean? You've been in enough bars to know that some people ought not be drinking.
Oh yeah, I know some Irish motherfuckers. Right off the top of my head, a couple of dudes came to my head, like real good friends with them. You know what I mean? Real good friends with them, and I know what kind of people they are. You know, they really good spirited people, but something about alcohol and Irish people, man, like the Irish people I know, man, it's like they got a hole in their leg, Trip. It's like the way is it goddamn like how he done sit over there and emptied out a whole fifth of something, Jack, whatever it is. He done set up this.
They love their Jameson and Guinness.
Jameson, I got Jameson right now, but that is a phenomenal thing to me. Like Irish people, like the one guy I know named Fred, man. He told me, he said one of these days I'm gonna have to give it up before my liver give out on me. You know what I mean? He said, I watch you come to the pool hall, and he's talking about me. He said, I watch you drink, and I see your limit, and you get a few of them in you, and you ready to go bounce and chill out. I said, yeah, that's just me. You know what I mean? I got low tolerance for it, you know? And he says, when your body says stop, my body says more. Mm-hmm. He said, like, I can just sit there and I can drink 2/5 of that before I go home. Like it's nothing.
Yeah, you know, there's some people are built for that, like the Irish. You know, they're not obviously all a monolith. So there are those that are not drinkers, but culturally, that's what they do. They go turn up those pints, and you know, as soon as they are 16, they start drinking, and so yeah, hey, that's just what they do. But those who are, let's say, cheap dates and lightweights, as we call them, you know, they toe down off of 2 beers. It's not that they can't drink, it's that their body says they can't drink because the chemicals inside the alcohol reacts badly to it, and it makes them pass out, or it makes them do crazy shit when it's like, man, you only had a couple drinks. What's wrong with you?
Chemically,
physically, they can't do it, you know, but a lot of people don't accept that or don't understand that, so they try to drink anyway. And those are the people that, you know, are blackout drunk after. It's like, what do we do? Just like a shot? What the hell's wrong with this dude? You know, turning shit out at the club. You know, it's like, man, keep your hands off that woman. You don't know her.
Man.
You know what I mean? Doing all kind of wild stuff, bugging out, driving, you know, 100 miles an hour.
Last time I was at a joint, man, my one of my homeboys, he got some twin brothers that's they gotta be about, I don't know, about 5 years younger than us. And I ain't hit, my homie wasn't there, but his twin little brothers was there. They saw me and came running up. They had one of their little homies with them, or two of them. And man, he was one of the little homies was one of them types you just got through describing. And man, he was running around, touching on. He was at my mom's club, man. I was just like, hey, dog. And they get ready to leave. They get ready to leave this motherfucker in there, dude. They about to leave his ass in there. I was like, hey, come here, man. Come here. I told both of them, come here, man. Hey, man, get this motherfucker, take him home, man, for somebody putting hands on him. He was like, fuck it. It's like, fuck him up. I said, man, y'all cold-blooded, man. Y'all brought him here. I had to take him home, man. Man, it was bogus, man. It was bogus for that, man. I'm like, dude, I'm like, I done stopped 3 people from putting hands on him already, man. Get him out of here, dude.
But don't. Here's a public service announcement from the Nomad Network. If you out with a bunch of your quote unquote air quote friends, be aware that many of those friends, how many of us have them, will not have your back in a situation. Case in point, I was working one night at a club, and another security dude had to get into it with a guy, but before anybody else could get there to help with him, security dude gave him a little left hook to the jaw, boom, buddy was out. So we drive him outside, you know, drive him down there on the sidewalk, you know, taking out the trash. That's just what it is. And he's unconscious, like laying there on the curb. But his 3 friends that were there with him are trying to argue. It's like, why'd you hit him? Why'd you do this? We're going to sue you. We're going to get our lawyers, blah, blah, blah. My first thing was, hey, why don't you get your man off the curb? And they looked down, kind of looked at him like, oh, yeah, he is knocked the fuck out. And so they kind of addressed him, and we went back inside, and everything was everything. They took their drunk asses home. But yeah, you know, don't trust your peoples like that, because not all your peoples is your peoples.
Man, dude, tell me about it, man. Left him high. It was about to leave him high and dry. I had to pull him, boy. I'm like, no, man. That ain't the way you do it, man. You bring your homeboy out. I don't care how belligerent he get. You make sure he get home. Man, he be tripping. Every time he drink, he get like that. I'm tired. I was like, what you bring him for then?
You know what I mean? That's your fault.
Yes, I mean,
every time you know that when this dude and alcohol or this chick and alcohol are together or intermingling, bad things happen. So why would you bring that person to a place where you know y'all gonna be drinking?
Man, dude. Let me tell you, we're gonna get into some 4th of July stuff later on, man, because I wanted to talk about that. Really, I wanted to talk to kids about it, but it'd be fun talking to you back and forth about it. But if kids don't come, I understand that.
Well, you know, 4th of July don't mean shit to people in Canada.
That's what I think. I felt like we asked him that. One of us asked him that before. Did one of us?
It may have, but he was like, 4th of July, what's that? You know, it's Independence Day for the United States of America. Canada. Right. When is Canadian Independence Day?
Right. And I think they got something comparable to it. I think we did say something to him about our asked him.
You know, they're not Boxing Day.
Yeah. But that's you know, motherfuckers all around my neighborhood, they already starting. You know what I mean? So it's a whole
disposable income just to light shit off.
Man, carrying on, man. Carrying on, bro. Trust me when I tell you, it's light work right now, but boy, it's just gonna intensify. Knocking on wood right now, because I don't want to be bothered with that shit this year.
Oh yeah, and then like after the 4th, those post-holiday sales, you know, where everything is half off, 3/4 off. Yeah. And so that week after the holiday, people still blowing shit up.
I don't know when you used to get them joints. Where you go to Indiana?
Yeah, because being in Illinois, they're not legal. But you go right across the border in Indiana, and they got stands along the highway being like, hey, you Illinois bastards, You know it's illegal over there, but it's legal here. Come on here and get some stuff. We got sales. We got all kind of good stuff up in here. And there's like stand after stand after stand on both sides of the highways. Now it's like that with dispensaries.
There's a joint I used to, man. Me and my cousin still, I ain't done it in years, but my cousin still do it. I took him up to down to Tennessee. For whatever reason, man, like some of the, like we ran into a fireworks warehouse, a big old, like a Costco size warehouse down in Tennessee. And I'm telling you, I took him in there, and I took him there about a decade ago, and that motherfucker ain't stopped going there since. And I'm just like, he's like, man, all this, he'll go in there, because his birthday is on the 4th. So he'll go in there, and that dude come up off $1,000, easy, $2,000 on fireworks. Like, I'm like, dog, you taking it way too far, but we'll have that conversation later on, man, because I think 4th of July used to be a different time for me when I was a shorty, but now it's just like,
if you heard we were celebrating, that's a worldwide lie. And that's kids ain't here, so public enemy.
All right, man. So what everybody came here to talk about, we're gonna give them what they came here to talk about and get into some vivid detail about it. Some of the stuff we're about to talk about right now. Matter of fact, let me switch the screen over and go to some media assets. Give me a second, turn my mouse back.
I'm still here, which I'm just going to get a refill, if you know what I'm saying.
Here, get your thing, man. I'm gonna pull up some stuff.
Right on.
While you doing that.
Woo-hoo.
Let me go to, and you know, the hot story everybody wants to talk about is, when I find him, is this guy. Caleb Williams had and you know what, compared to some of the stuff I've been hearing, shout out to everybody that just jumped in, Nick Rimbert, Joseph Archer, Supernova Maniac, let me see who else, Smitty Q just busted up in this piece, Paul Rodriguez, thank everybody. White Ghost, thank everybody for being here. We're finna get into this Bears conversation and get nuanced about it. We're gonna get real detailed about what we're about to talk about right now, because that's what we do over here, y'all. We get into the details, man. Shout out to FFG. What up, dog? Who else? Just Richard Long just busted up in here. So one of the things that I've been hammering this over and over and over on different shows. I mean, seems like every time I do shorts and start breaking those shorts down, this conversation is in every show. And I always wanted to point this out all this offseason, ever since we got Ben Johnson, studying that offense and then listening to Ben Johnson discuss, you know, how, you know, when he first got here, people wanted to know, what is this offense going to be like? What are you going to do with Caleb Williams? And he made it very clear. We're going to work around Caleb Williams' strengths, right? He made that very clear. And so right away, what I took from that, and what I tried to encourage everybody to take from that, is they're going to focus on the short game. Get the ball out in quick areas, short areas between 15, 25 yards and in. So about 25 yards is probably the depth of where he's going to be throwing the ball at and in. I'm not saying he's not going to throw the ball downfield. He will. But I think it's all going to be a gradual momentum to the ball down the field. But the short area. So today, what I heard was they had a really good 2-minute drill, situational football going on today, and this is the fun stuff, because that's when you shout out to Joseph Archer for the super chat, man. We appreciate it. We haven't had one of those in quite some time, man. I would appreciate a little bit more of those, but I'd love you to death for that, Joseph, man. Appreciate it. So it's situational football with the offense. They'll back you up to in your red zone somewhere, right? Trips, put you around 10, 15-yard line, somewhere like that, and give you a time clock and have you run a sequence of plays to get you down the field and see if you can score. Use the timeouts, do all that kind of stuff. And everything is on the line. So everything they've been installing, everything they've been going over in the classroom is on display in situational football in the 2-minute offense. And so what I heard today, they went down the field with a 90-yard drive, and they ended up with a touchdown to, I believe it was Kyle Monongai. And so that was encouraging, because, and I heard most of it was in the short game, Trip. It was just like dink, dunk, just keep moving the chains, and which is something we were looking for all last year. That was very encouraging to me.
Well, indeed, because the goal of the offense is to score a touchdown, 7 points. Let's call that $1. And if you got to get that dollar in one play, just boom, $1. Cool. But if you got to get a nickel here, a few pennies there, a dime here, a few more nickels there, eventually it would all add up. So progress, is not something that you can be mad at. It's not about how fast they do it. It's just that they do it efficiently and regularly. And that short game scenario that Ben Johnson wants to develop around Caleb Williams, since that is his comfort zone, that bodes well for, well, there are a couple guys that haven't seen the field yet, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But that bodes well for the type of weapons and receivers that this team has, as well as running backs and tight ends. So we are in a position that the players are in a position to succeed, I should say better, more so than they have been in previous regimes. And so now it's time to put it all together.
Yeah. This Paul Rodriguez's comment, and I'm a lot like Paul. He says, personally, it's hard for me to get excited until training camp. Need pads on. Real football. Many camps favor the offense, and I like hearing Ben Johnson is getting these players in line. I love all of that. But yeah, you're right, Paul. It's very I don't get very, very excited about it either. Matter of fact, I don't want to put anybody down, and I'm not going to. But I don't know who called who, but we was talking to one of my teammates, and he was talking about, man, he's like, man, do you realize that people pay to go watch practice? I was just like, yeah, that tripped me out when I found out. I didn't know people paid to go watch practice. And I'm just like, for people, so the various degrees of fandom, for people who haven't played the game, that's got to be pretty exciting to them. Just go out there and watch these guys run around. For me, it's just like it's just practice. You know what I mean? Especially when it's out of pads, it's just like, yeah, it's nothing to me. I understand why people get excited about it. That's all I'm saying, and just surprised.
Well, from a fan point of view, though, if that's the only opportunity of one or an opportunity to see your, favorite team in not action because it's not against other teams, but out there sweating on the practice field, you take that opportunity. You look at when they have training camp and it's open to fans. There are thousands of fans out there. When they have family night, which is nothing but a glorified practice at Soldier Field, there are thousands of fans out there because that's their opportunity to be a part of the team, to see what's going on with their own eyes. They'll watch every game all season, from the comfort of their living room or man cave or garage or friend's house or brunch or buffet or wherever the fuck. But the opportunity to be there. And then now, with everything being new and, new coaching regime, new offense, new defense, it's exciting to be there just to see what kind of plays are they running. Obviously you're not going to see the whole playbook in one practice, but you get an idea of like, oh, okay, they're doing a lot of 2 tight ends here. Or, there are a lot of swing passes to the flats or to the running backs there. And it's like, oh, okay, we got that to look forward to. You get to see these guys out there running around. And it's like, well, that says this fucker runs a 4.4. And it's like, oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. It's like, oh, he's slow. It's like, oh, yeah, look at that slow-ass 40 4.6. That's slow. You know what I mean? And so you just do little things like that up there from that fan perspective. But now from the business perspective, hey, people are willing to pay us to watch practice. All right, here's where we're going to seat them. We're going to put them in the bleachers over there.
Yep.
And we're going to collect the money over there. We're going to separate them, blah, blah, blah there. And we're going to tell them to have a nice fucking day. Thank you. Come again. Ching, ching. And so everybody wins. Nobody's forcing those fans to go there and pay however much it is. They're doing it willingly. The team isn't not allowing it. You know, they're not doing it for free also, you know, but they could, but I don't think they are. You know, so they're making a little money, a little coin. And then the players is like, take your ass out there and practice. Don't worry about what's going on in the periphery. That ain't got nothing to do with you. You worry about practice. So it's a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah, man. That's true, man. I
Oh, and then also one more thing before you go. This is the opportunity for a lot of fans to see the team live and in person who are not into crowds of, you know, the 60, 70,000 variety on Sunday afternoon or wherever at. So, you know, from that aspect as well.
And also, Richard Long, I got to read this out because I'm going to have a little bit to say about this. He says, Richard Long says, seeing them live in practice when live play is unaffordable seems reasonable. So basically, he says it's easier to go pay for them to watch practice than you know, the crazy prices. And that's one of the things that's true, Richard. One of the things that you guys don't know, but I'm really starting to dial up on the merchandise side of it, because I know that the merchandise is expensive as hell too. To me, and not just because we're going to be selling custom merchandise on the website, but the custom merchandise that people like myself and other people are making is much more affordable and much more dynamic than the stuff that the Bears are actually making. So if you want my advice, you know, I understand, you know, these ticket prices are crazy and the gear and the merchandise prices are crazy too. And so what I'd say to you all is reach out to some people, the people like us, the Nomad Network, find out what kind of merchandise we're making. I think you all are going to love some of the new custom designs that I got cooked up. And just check us out, man. So I understand that was one of the things that I paid close attention to is how much they're charging for everything. You know, whether it's at the game, whether it's at the you know, the food court, wherever, or the merchandise is selling, man. I found out that we can find a niche there and sell some really good custom merchandise out there. And shout out to FFG for the $2 super chat, man. Appreciate you, my guy.
Right on.
So yeah, that's out there, man. You know, so look forward to some of the designs we're gonna put out. I think you're gonna like this better than some of the stuff they have on the website.
Yeah, and I heard that you know, Staley, for extra tips, you know, they was doing some furry poses out there. So I mean, you know what I mean? So watch your kids. You know how those furries, now that's what they into now. They be dressing up like animals and stuff, but they be of an erotic nature with it. Oh, and they be looking at Staley, the bear, like, hey, Staley, how you doing? And Staley, you know, he looked kind of like he on the spectrum a little bit, you know what I mean? And just in his face. And ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. But Staley looked like he could be a bit off. And so, you know, for a few dollars, he may, you know, do a little anything, a little Bitcoin, you know, crypto, something, you know, offer it to him. You see, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, wow, man. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Hey, that's the writing on the bathroom wall, on the stall wall. You know what I say for a good time call? Staley. You know what I mean?
All right. I'm gonna swerve on that one, man. Get to Caleb. One of the things that I've been really, and I haven't heard anything to this fact that, you know, him changing his footwork, that might slow down his progression. You know what I mean? Just getting used to that muscle memory. It's not that I'm looking for that to be a problem, but I know at some point, and I know this is just OTAs with no pads on, no live bullets flying. I know this only means so much, but when the pads come on, you know, some of the things I heard about Caleb Williams today was very encouraging. Triple, I ain't kidding you, man. I'm talking about some of his dialogue on the sidelines, talking to his teammates, being a leader on the sidelines, and just encouraging everybody and trying to bring people along with him. That's the kind of shit you want to hear, Trip. That's the kind of stuff you want to hear. It's no surprise to me how this offense is structured to this graphics point. That was easy to detect. What Caleb Williams is doing with it, trying to take ownership of it and buying into what Ben Johnson is doing. What I think that's the most important thing right now. Him buying in and giving everything he's got to the situation. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's good to hear. You know, it's fair or not, whoever labeled, you know, the kid generational, as a draft pick coming out, he had a lot of expectations on him. And into the shit show that was Hallis Hall at the time, being a rookie and being just coming into that environment where, many of the team and front office people are still reeling because Justin just left and they would prefer to have him still here. Or they don't like what Williams did in the combine, or they preferred another quarterback, or they don't want a rookie quarterback. He came into a lot of things and didn't have the support of a solid, non-dysfunctional coaching staff. So that didn't help. So to hear that he's still working and progressing and actually showing the progress on the field as well in front of the cameras, obviously still, June, there is not a lot of pressure, built up right now. But to see that he is grasping whatever concepts that Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle are putting down on him, JT Barrett, that he is completing the passes with these, the guys that we have. So he's building rapport with whoever is, the 1, 2, and 3 on that chain, whether it be DJ or Rome or Olamide or Komet or whoever, Loveland and Burton haven't been on the field yet, so that's not happening. But to see him, progressing, it's a good thing. The footwork, whatever. That's a coaching thing. If the coaches want him to do that, fucking do that. It's not about what he wants or what he's comfortable with. The coaches get paid a lot of money to make the players the best they can be. And if that entails start with your other foot back, then start with your other foot back. And he's not fighting it. He's not resisting it. He's not back talking it. He's embracing it. So, hey, let's go. Let's fucking go.
I see you in there, Paul Rodriguez. We're going to get to some defense here in a few. Just, this is the stuff, everybody, I made the statement that I was hoping that this offseason didn't turn to this is all about Caleb Williams. I was hoping, but we went to a place now, looking at everything in hindsight, you always have clarity. And, it was obvious to me Ben Johnson took this job because of what he thought Caleb Williams was capable of doing. Not solely, but just what he thought Caleb was capable of doing. The fact that, he's leaning into this guy's strengths. And I think this is going to pay so many dividends, Triple R. The fact that he's it sounds like he's forcing him to really, really operate in the short area instead of looking for the deep play down the field. And I also have heard that, his deep ball accuracy is still struggling a little bit. I heard that a couple of times, not only from Hogan Johns, the CHGO podcast, and also who was it? Somebody that came on 670 to score. It might have been Mark Grody. All said the same thing. He still struggled with the connection downfield. That's fine. That's what the offseason is for. It's working with your people, getting chemistry with your receivers, just spending time. And I love to hear Ben Johnson say this at the podium today, talking about, they were asking him about the deep ball accuracy and what's up with that, how you fix that. And he just said reps. Mm-hmm. Reps. You just keep repping it. And that's true. You just keep repping it. And what he's going to have to do is get those guys soon as this OTA period is over. It's going to be about a week, maybe a week and some change. But then after that, you got to rally the troops, homeboy. You got to get them together, and y'all got to start throwing balls. Y'all got to start going over cadences, calls, hot routes, and start reacting to that in real time on air without a defense around you. That's how you do it, Trips. There's no other way around that. You got to spend time on task.
Yeah, you can read as many play sheets as you want to. You can look at the Microsoft Surface tablet all goddamn day, but nothing will replace getting out there and doing it.
Yes.
Obviously it's not against competition or even against a defense. It's just out there running, routes and throwing. And that just builds comfortability. Quarterback, wide receivers, they're looking at different things, obviously. They're learning from each other. Caleb is learning, okay, it's like, well, this guy, he likes the ball here, up top or out here. I can throw him open there. I can loft it and he'll run and get it here. So they're learning those little nuances as well as just the chemistry of looking at each other and those hot routes, those checks, the developing those hand signals or the looks or the eye movements that will come into play and develop as the season and seasons go on. Right now, as far as the short game development that Ben Johnson is implementing in OTAs, there's nothing wrong with that because, you're going to have a short game, you're going to have a medium game, you're going to have a long game. Right now, we're working on a short game. And with the talent and the weapons that are here, any one of these short passes with the yak possible from these athletes can be a touchdown. So don't sleep on the short passes and the short game and getting players open within that small window. And so developing that consistency, just running the short game, everything under 20 yards, under 15 yards. You throw something over 15 yards, automatic incompletion. So you have to work within the zone. And then, eventually they'll add the medium. And so everything between 20 and 30 yards or, whatever the yardage is. And it's like anything short or anything beyond that, incomplete. So you got to work that. And then they'll, work in the long game and the deep passes. But you got to start small before you can get long. You got to start with the crawling before you're running. And so this being the first OTAs of the very first offense of this implementation, where else would you start? With bombs and Hail Marys?
It's the idea of what Ben Johnson likes to do is to beat you to death in the short area, whether it's running the ball, whether it's the short passing game, beat you to death in the short area, suck you in, and then later on take advantage of you because you're struggling and you're in that battle, in that war to try to stop them from, taking advantage of you running the ball and throwing the ball in short areas and getting just dinking and dunking you to death. And all the time he's preparing that deep play. It might come from a double reverse. It might come from a double reverse to a damn lineman like he had Penei Sewell throwing the ball. You know what I mean? Remember that during the game? He had Penei Sewell throwing and stuff like that. All of that running the ball and working you in the short area sets you up so that the safety start to bite, the corner start to bite, and you can take advantage and have open shots downfield. It all works together. Football is not complicated in that regard. It's about the schematics, the rhythm, and the timing of your calls. And I love the fact that he's working, that, like you said, that catch and run aspect of what you have in this offense with these athletes that we have, these different players. Talking about DJ, you're talking about, Colson Loveland, you're talking about Luther Burden, all these different guys that can catch the ball in the short area and burn you. DeAndre Swift, all these guys will burn you. They'll take it 60, 70 yards on you. You know what I mean? So that's why you play to your strengths. You identify that this is what my guys do well. This is what I want my offense to be because these guys do this well. Okay, it's got a quick release, and we need to take advantage of that. Get the ball in these guys' hands and let them kick up some dirt. That's the idea, right? And play some hella defense.
Yeah, that's why you get the athletes to put around the quarterback. That's why you get the offensive line to protect for the quarterback, to give him time to get the ball to the athletes. And if you can get the ball to the athletes in, 5 to 20 yards, that does not take long for the play, for the route to develop. And so that makes it a lot easier to pass block because you don't have to do it for a long time. That gets the ball out of the quarterback's hands to lessen the potential of sacks. It gets the receiver open quickly to minimize turnovers or, deflected passes. So it's a good concept all the way around, and they got to practice that shit. And if, Ben Johnson has to be a hard ass about it, then that's who he is. Okay. Because remember, he's a first-time head coach right now. So he has the whole team to be responsible for, not just the offense of what he's used to. So, seeing how he interacts with the entire team, not just the offense, is a learning process for him as well.
I'm loving it, and his philosophy is starting to leak out a little bit, and more every day, man. I'm starting to really. I felt like I had a good beat on what he had in mind, for Caleb, and what he had in mind for this offense. It's not going to look very different than it did in Detroit. He'll add some wrinkles and bells and whistles to it, but the fact that Caleb has this quick release, and we have all these catch and run type athletes that can really, really do damage to you. All they have to do is get their hands on the ball, and the philosophy of no block, no rock comes into play here, because if everybody executes their assignment, whoever touches the ball can hit their head on the goalpost if everybody blocks it up. And so the buy-in to that aspect of it, I'm telling you, man, it's not going to be enough time in the offseason to get the Bears offensively where we want them to be. I'm just telling you that flat out right now. It's going to be up and it's going to be down in the first several games. And what I mean by several, you give it to the bye. And then they'll start figuring out exactly who they are and what they're capable of doing with the talent that they have. And they'll make adjustments. And then you'll see who the Bears are. And then, somewhere around mid-season, I think you'll start seeing who the Chicago Bears really are offensively. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, because it will take, time. There will be mistakes. There will be growing pains. But the bye comes at week 5, so that gives them time to, self-scout and go on from there. Whereas we really will see the development with offense and defense will be year 2, where now you have a foundation of players who've been, within the system, for a season now under live reps, during game time, seeing different defenses, different offensive, depending on the side of the ball, and adjustments. And so going into year 2, they have that foundation they can build on from there. So right now it's still a learning process for everybody on both sides of the ball, coaching staff included.
I think, let me get this off the screen. I'll talk about this.
Wait, the Canuck is coming. I don't think we need to hear that.
Canuck couldn't stay away. He said the Canuck.
Hey, just keep something. Go ahead and finish that. Then
all right, kids, we're going to leave you alone until you get in here, man. We're going to pick on you when you get here. But let me take this down, talking about in general. Out today, Triple R, I was watching, I happen to be watching the presser. And, you watch the live chat, and I see everybody in there, man. I see everybody from Swift. I see people in the chat right now that was there. And people, I remember one time somebody asked me, how come you never do this? I was just like, man, that chat is way too immature for me, man. It was way too, it gets foul. I know people gather there and Bears fans gather there, but it gets very, very juvenile. And I don't know, man, it's just bad energy, man. People get to calling names. I ain't with all that, man. And anyway, what I was trying to get at is I can see the joy, I can see the excitement, but I can also see the sensitivity to the things that have happened in these past few years, in these past several years. I say about a handful of years, 6, 7 years or so. It's happened to the Bears, and we get excited every single year about what we hope this is going to be, and then seems like we get to that point and just kind of overextend ourselves and get disappointed, and we become sensitive. We become sensitive because we love this team so much, and we put on so hard for certain things to happen or certain players that when things don't work out, it's like, man, I mean, like, I don't know if you see it that way, Triple R, but I just hope, I think this thing is going to go very well, but how fast it goes very well is what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to tell people is don't expect it to be gangbusters right away. In fact, I'll tell you another thing, and we don't have the defense up yet, but we're going to talk about this real quick. I think And you guys remember I told you this. You won't hear this nowhere else. I think the defense will struggle early. And I'm talking about early in the season. And I'll tell you why. It's because we have a brand new offense and they're not getting the best looks in the world versus a very oiled offense. Let's just say think about an oiled offense in the NFL right now. When you think about an oiled offense, first thing comes to my mind is the Rams with Matthew Stafford or somebody like that, right? Very oiled offense. Every single practice, they're gonna take the defense to task, right? Because you got an all-star throwing the football and you got all-star pieces around them. We have all-star pieces, but we don't have the symmetry. Therefore, the defense is going to struggle a little bit when the season starts because they haven't been getting the best looks.
Well, look at this analogy, Matt. Professional offenses, like the Rams that have been together, that are very efficient at what they do. Let's say they run a 4-3. Even though we have the talent to match up on our defense, because it's a brand new defense, they're running like a 4-8. Would that be fair?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're just that far behind or whatever the numbers are because there's more thinking going on than reacting and playing. There's more is like, where am I supposed to be? Is he supposed to be there? They're going to be run gashes given up by this defense because of the style of play with everybody up on the line responsible for a gap. One dude missed his responsibility, missed that gap. Now you get, an 80-yard house call because there's nobody else back there to stop the runner. So, that's too expected in growing pains on this defense.
Well, it's a little bit more than that. Probably. All right. So imagine this, Triple R. We're coaching the defense, right? Me, you, and kids. And shout out to the Canuck that just busted up in this piece from wherever land. But listen to what I'm saying. You got a brand new offense, and the defense is trying to get really, really good reps. They're trying to get themselves ready for the regular season when they're going to face some stellar offenses like whoever. You're not going to get the best looks from the offense because it's going to be a whole lot of whistle blowing, get back to the huddle. And then on top of that, they're not clicking like they're supposed to. And so you're not getting the best practice reps that you can get. So therefore, by the time we're going to run into a Minnesota on the first game, and they have a pretty oiled offense, right? And so they know exactly what they're trying to get, and it's oiled and it's refined versus what they're seeing in practice at home. And so the regular season, it's going to be a game or two before they get their sea legs, because you're dealing with rickety in practice, and you're dealing with oiled up, ready to go in the real games. You get what I mean now?
Well, what's going on, kids? Where you at?
I'm in BF, Ontario, man. That's where I'm at. You can figure out what the B and the F stand for. But I'm out there. I'm doing it. We doing it.
See, like in America, that stands for bumfuck.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's those are the B and the Fs.
You got company around you, or you in there by yourself?
I'm by myself, man. Just me.
All right. I don't want to say the wrong thing and get you in trouble, man.
No.
You in a hotel and BFE someplace all by yourself. I'm sure you got the residue of some freshly churned Canuck butter on the TV remote control.
Wow, you went right there with this conversation. It is extra sauce, so maybe there's some extra sauce around.
You got a little extra of that Canuck sauce.
Maybe there's some extra Canuck sauce.
You get no consideration for the people behind you. You better hope that maid cleans it off, or they better.
Hey, man, I just tip her well, man. Tip her well.
Nice.
George Costanza. Say what?
You tip maids?
Hey, man, it depends what kind of tip we're talking about.
Or what kind of maid?
Just the tip, baby. Just the tip.
Just the tip. Again, all things I've learned from George Costanza. God love that, man.
So what's been up, man? You want to shout out everybody, or you want to just What's going on with you right now?
Hey man, everything's good, man. I just slid up in here. I'm in southwestern Ontario, just doing some things and visiting some folks. I bumped into some Lions fans, and we had it out at the pub. It was awesome. But we had a real good conversation, and as per normal, the conversation just went FGB. That was really the conversation.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
So we can all agree on that.
Well, everyone can agree. We're like, might as well bring Minnesota in as well. We can all agree FGB. And in that respect, there was always respect and love and conversation. We had a great conversation. We talked about Ben, and we talked about Aaron Glenn, where Aaron Glenn is going with the Jets with Justin. And it was we chopped it up real good, man. Real good.
Nice.
But,
you probably can see the check.
You rolling a little nut juice.
You can't see the chat, can you?
So I can't what?
You can't see the chat, can you?
Actually, I can now that you're saying it. I can. Kid's broadcasting from his in-laws' basement. Who am I? FFG? Is that? The best part is it's FFG's comment. Like, that's the best part. That's ironic as all get out. Nah, man, brother, I'm in a all expenses paid hotel. It ain't the greatest hotel, but all expenses paid nonetheless. I'm out here doing the thing.
They got continental breakfast?
They do. I skipped it though, man. I don't trust.
What?
I don't trust. Yeah, no, I don't trust hotel. Not when I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm out at trade shows doing business, man. And if I get into that continental, I might not make it through the trade show, man. So.
Oh, you mean you gonna yourself? You gonna shit yourself?
No, I'm not. See, you guys in your wet naps and stuff, man. Your man wipes. I you know what I mean? It's not a shit myself situation. It's like I might get itis at like 11:30. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna really want to do the job I got going on. So I avoid breakfast in the morning. I just coffee up hard.
But see, baby boy, here's what you are failing to realize. To make sure that your body and brain are in tip-top functional condition, you need to not only hydrate but feed your body in the morning. And especially on the road when they got like those waffles and shit. You know what I'm saying? You get some of those waffles, they get waffle.
Man, you wrong, bro. At 11:30 a.m., I'll be sleeping in a corner.
Well, I mean, that's normal for those seminars, those conferences, because they be boring as shit. Everybody nods off. You know,
this is what I'm trying to say. It's absolutely normal, but it ain't gonna be normal when my boss hollers at me. He's like, "Hey, dude, you sleeping? What's going on?"
Well, he ain't there. You know, when somebody can rat you out like that, they don't know.
Hey, man, I don't trust these MFs, man. I don't trust nobody no more. Not in business. Business is a strange dealing.
I did. Let me tell you my ratchet ass life. In my life, man, I did a lot of hotel, paid for hotels and shit. Now, that's some pretty good ones. That's some pretty low ones too. Like my low end hotel continental breakfast is a goddamn muffin in a plastic bag, in a little piece of plastic, and a cup of yogurt or something, and maybe some free coffee or something. And you might have to make that shit. And then the high end best, I can say the best I ever seen for me. It was hot scrambled eggs, hot bacon, hot sausage, hot everything, fresh cold fruit sitting out there. That was the high end shit. I don't know what continental breakfast you ever seen.
They got all that. They got all that in the morning. I walked right past it, grabbed myself a coffee, grabbed some fruit, and I was out. Like that was all I was trying to really get into because I knew I was going to be standing on my feet for the next 8 hours. And
you doing your keto thing, don't you need to like load up on like bacon and proteins and shit in the morning?
No, not necessarily in the morning. It works.
I know you a baller and everything. You probably got an expense report account for your job, but you can't afford convention center food. You know what I mean?
You know I do. But the fact is, I do a little bit of intermittent fast during the day, man. So I fast intermittent till about 2 o'clock. That's what I do. Then I hit it hard from 2 o'clock to have a hard lunch at 2 o'clock, and then hit it again before 8 p.m. And that's basically my eating cycle.
Yeah.
Now you can eat that 2 o'clock during your conference schedule and all that.
Then that 2 o'clock has to be hard keto, bro. It has to be like if I get into some French fries and shit, it's over. I'm done. So, like I say, had a burger today, bunless burger, no, basically just 2 patties, some cheese, and some mayonnaise, and that was my lunch.
Hey, before we get carried away, let me shout out Samuel. I called him. I texted him today to try to see if he can fill in for you today, but we didn't. So you guys already know, man. You guys know. I don't know if no maniacs remember, but I had a bad sciatica nerve issue in my back, and I struggled. I remember doing some shows a couple of times through that pain. I remember one day Chris laughed at me, and I got mad as shit at him, man, because he didn't realize.
Pussy.
What? Now you ain't finished. Let me tell you what Samuel got going on. He's hurting, man.
Oh no.
And he's. I know Samuel's probably laying down listening, watching this. He's probably falling asleep off of medication. But man, once you got that going on, man, you got to change some things about your way of life, your diet, and your exercise habits. All that shit will haunt the dog. I mean, it's some of the worst pain you can imagine.
Yeah, because it goes all the way down your leg, right?
Man, dude, you can't even. I would have never been able to describe that. Imagine that unless I'd have went through. Somebody would have been explaining it to me before I had gone through it. I'd been like, man, that's crazy. How's it going from your back all the way down to your leg?
Yep. No, I've had that too, man. That's not fun at all.
Nerve endings.
Yeah.
Dog, it was so bad, man.
It was I had to get one of them rollers, you know what I mean? Them I don't know, big foam. Yeah, you know what I mean? But like a big foam one, and like lean back over top and flip my legs up to stretch the back. And I had to watch TV like that upside down for like a solid 8 hours, and then did it again the next day. It was the most annoying thing. But after 2 days of counterbalance stretching it, oh, there's Sam right there.
Yeah.
Sam. Every day I woke up and just started listening.
If you're taking like Oxy or any of those like addictive
no.
Things, that ain't good.
I hope not, because if you got that shit, Sam, I'll throw that shit down the toilet and get that goodies back and body. You don't want to get started on them shits, muscle relaxers and all that.
Oh, you know you love me.
That's too funny, man. Shout out to Big Sam out there. Like, if you got it, try. Like, all I can say is try and counterbalance, man. It's the only thing you can do outside of like good drugs, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's painful as shit. It is super painful, man. But I counterbalanced it and eventually went away, and I was all right. I don't know how. Nomad, how did you get over the sciatica?
Time and goodies.
Goodies, like THC goodies.
No. Goodies back and body. It's goodies powder, and you just get the back and body form. So anybody that's dealing with any kind of those kind of issues like that, it's good to have the narcotics if it gets really, really, really bad. Like muscle relaxers, keep that shit way in the back of your goddamn medicine cabinet. Don't reach for that shit first. Go and get the goodies. And I had to decide that I wasn't gonna take none of that shit.
You damn straight. I fasted between 5-star meals. You should see what I'm eating out here on the company. There's some good ass food though, man.
Why not? You take that shit with a shot of whiskey.
Hey, you gotta wash it down somehow. With Glenfiddich, you gotta wash it down.
What you talking about, FFG? What you mean by the crown situation on the channel? I don't know what that means.
Well, I saw on some channels, like in the chat, they have like little crowns by their name.
Oh, so there's some new. So I can explain it a little bit, but I haven't really figured it all out. So there's some besides good drugs. I'm telling you, bro. There's like some leaderboard stuff going on in the chat. I can't see it right now because of where I'm at, but there's a leaderboard. So whoever's got the crown is more or less the one who's been the most active in the chat. And as you'll see, there's like a 1, 2, 3, etc. That just goes to show who's the most active homie out there. So again, shout out to all the no maniacs out there being in there and active and interactive with the chat. You know what it is.
I'll figure it out, man. I've been so busy doing other stuff. They got new features in StreamYard and on YouTube that I ain't even reached and tried to see what it is yet. But I will. Shout out to you for that, bro. I'll check it out.
And then what Samuel said, he has some nerve pain medicine that's also used for seizures.
Okay.
Now, it's not for sciatica, but I got a impingement nerve thing in my shoulder back area that I often feel all the way down to my fingertips, because that's how nerves work when they get impinged on. And I take gabapentin. And I'm supposed to take like 3 a day, but I take like 1. Because anytime you're using drugs, introducing them to your body, you don't want to take too much of them shits. Yeah, so it's like, you all you can do is basically reduce the cause of the inflammation for those nerves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to do that medically, okay. If you have to, take off a few pounds, that's what it is.
That helps too.
In Lethal Weapon, when Murtaugh, he had sciatica. You know what I mean?
One other thing,
damn Riggs.
I want to tell Samuel real quick, man.
I'm back, Riggs. Damn it.
Before we get into some more football, right? Because we about to swerve to that again. But Samuel, I'll give you this advice, man. Your daughter, she's gonna be growing fast, man. And right now, the easiest thing to do is to just bend down, reach over, and pick her up. Mm-hmm. Bigger she gets, bro. Trust me when I tell you, and it's gonna happen fast. Start using your legs and using your legs to lift her up. I'm telling you,
that ass.
I'm gonna save you an episode. Take that advice, bro. I threw my shit all the way out, grabbing one of my nieces like that, and I had to deal with that shit for 4 days.
You really glue your back picking up your niece?
You know how uncles are. You want to pick them up. They see you. They want you to pick them up and swing them and do all that kind of shit.
Throw them up in the air and shit.
All that. Oh man, she almost hit the goddamn floor, man. I was like, oh my mother.
I know. Are you fat or are you heavy or I'm old or both?
That's crazy, man.
That's exactly what I have to. See, y'all gonna start listening to old trips. All you motherfuckers. Start listening to old trips about shit.
All right. Y'all ready to let's talk about some football, man. And the next thing here is I don't even know if it's much to talk about, but we're gonna talk about it anyway. The left tackle competition. Today it's going back and forth. So it's going
heating up.
It's going.
Oh, is it Quran again?
Yeah, today was Quran, man. And they did that 90-yard drive, from their own 10 and got in the end zone off of Quran and whoever else is on the line. So it's heating up, man. And the more and more every time I see Ben Johnson come to the podium, somebody is asking him the question, hey, how's this thing going? Who's getting the lead? And what are we gonna do here? And one of the things he said was, we're looking for the best pass protector consistently. And one of the things I can say firmly and cleanly about both of these two guys, and Karan Amagaji, I hope everybody can flush what they saw, the minimal stuff that they saw with Karan Amagaji, and just go back to the tape that you saw at Yale and see what kind of pass protection skills he has. And I think you'd be impressed. More recently, Ozzie Trapillo, it's almost flawless when you watch him play. Pass protection is almost flawless. But I love the idea that every time they go out there and practice, it'll be Ozzie tomorrow taking reps with the ones. But you gotta love this, man. I'm feeling like we're where we need to be on the offensive line for the first time in a good minute. Man. And I think it's largely due to this guy here we just drafted and the guy we just drafted last year.
Go ahead, kid. You back. Go ahead. Take second base.
All right, right on. I'm up to bat. Look, it's competition, y'all. And that's exactly what this is. He needs to do this. He needs to do this for the next couple of months. I'm being dead serious about this because this is how you get the best out of both of these guys. Who wants this job more, right? Does Karan want the job more? Does Ozzie want the job more? Only one way to find out. Put them in a real competition against each other on a weekly, if not a practice basis, and see what shakes out. I love this. Ben Johnson's a genius. Just saying.
Yeah, I like the fact that there is the competition going on. The job isn't just handed to anyone. And from reading between the lines, they are really liking Ozzie. with the ones, whereas Amagaji's still battling, and it's not over. But let's just hypothetically play it out that Ozzy impresses enough to start. Amagaji's not a wasted guy. Now you get a backup, left tackle. You got a backup, possibly swing tackle. Braxton Jones is not in this picture. He's not in the discussion because you can't make the club from the tub of which he is still in. So, as these Amagaji and Ozzy battle for it, Ozzy sounds like he may have a slight lead right now. There are no pads on, but we shall see. But just looking at the body structure, looking at the college tape, Ozzy's a better pass blocker than Braxton. I mean, that shouldn't even be a question to anybody, is it?
No, not to me. I mean, if Braxton had the body type of Ozzy Trapillo, he'd be as good, but he doesn't have the body structure to be able to anchor like Ozzy Trapillo does. Ozzy Trapillo has the body structure, lower body structure, to be able to sit down and anchor on those pass protection reps. And Braxton Jones doesn't. That we'll get into that conversation, but this back and forth between these two guys, I don't want to shortchange Kieran Amagaji because I don't think he's going to be shortchanged. I think whatever happens out of this means that one of these guys is likely to be getting guard reps after this, and that's not the worst thing in the world. Just because you don't win the number one starting left tackle role don't mean you won't be part of whatever's going on out here. So I wish them both well, man, because I think both of them are highly capable of getting it done. I just want to see. My biggest thing with Ozzy Trapillo is to see how he responds to the different pass rushers that we have out here. This level of pass rushers is different than what he saw when he was in college on a consistent basis. He might have saw a good pass rusher once every 3 weeks in college, a really good pass rusher once every 3 weeks, an NFL type pass rusher once every 3 weeks. Let's see how he holds up against Montez Sweat on a regular basis. I just want to see what happens when that happens. Pat's got to come too.
That's interesting. Yeah, man. He's got to line up against Montez Sweats of the world, the Austin Bookers of the world, the Deo Dangbos of the world, and really get tested, be tested. But that goes for both of them. They both need to see that competition and start to excel in those respects. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited about what this is going to show us at the end of the day. I'm pretty sure it's going to show us that Ozzy Trapillo is a guy, and that's perfect. That's exactly what I want to show us. But at the same time, we want to get something out of Karan. Let's build Karan up into something. Let's develop him for something, even if it's just that swing tackle role. There's nothing wrong with it because these big guys do tend to get hurt once or twice a season. Speaking of hurt big guys, that's how we got in this situation in the first place, right? So there we are.
Also, Trip, before you go, another thing should be considered is you can't brush past this. There's no getting around this whatsoever. They just drafted this guy in the second round. And so you draft the guy in the second round in offensive. I mean, he was drafted in the second round, right?
Yeah.
So your intention is to glide past him towards a starter spot if you can. I think it's his job to win at this point. Somebody's got to take it.
Well, this is it.
I hate the thought, though, that just because you were drafted high means you are supposed to be given a spot. I get the concept to say, well, you're a high draft pick. You're supposed to come in and start at whatever position you're at. But if Amagaji, who was a third round pick, coming in injured, is able to beat out a second round pick, that is not a horrible thing. If Braxton Jones was to come back and beat them both out, it would be like, holy shit, where'd that come from? I don't see that happening. But, a second round pick fighting out, a third round pick fighting it out is one thing. But let's say a UDFA comes in and beats them both out. That's not the norm. But let the best player play, whoever position they were drafted in, whatever round, wherever they came from, just let the best players play. And it seems like that's what this staff is trying to do.
Hey, Trips. All right, this would be probably the best example of what I'm trying to say here, and that is when Tevin Jenkins was drafted to be a left tackle over here in Chicago, and the regime change came. Same thing just happened here. You know what I mean? And this regime, they didn't draft Kieran Amagaji. Right. And so I think naturally they're going to favor the guy that they drafted. They believed in him for a reason, and they brought him in here for a reason. And I think they're going to give him every opportunity because this is a regime change. And so I'm not saying they're going to poo-poo Kieran Amagaji, but it naturally happens. I think Tevin Jenkins's path might be different if that regime didn't change it. You know.
Well, I think that if all things equal, they would lean toward Ozzie because he's their guy, and they got another year of control contract-wise at left tackle for him. You know, if Kieran or Braxton Jones just flat out win the job, I don't think that they would not give them the job because of, you know, well, Ozzie is the heir apparent,
right?
You know, or Kieran's next on that pecking order. You know, I would think that well, at least I hope that they would play the best player. I can understand that they would be leaning toward Ozzie.
And shout out to City Streets TV. He ain't playing up in the chat, man. He got hella comments going on. Shout out to City Streets TV. My first time seeing you. Might not be the first time being here, but this is my first time seeing you. Shout out to you for being here. Thank you for being in the community, bro.
Yeah, that's why there's a competition. You know, a little quick thing to say. Andre Bryant was asking, does Ozzie have quick feet for run blocking? That's Braxton Jones' strength in blocking. And as per Samo in the chat, Ben Johnson came out this week and kind of specifically said, look, you know, run blocking is nice to have. It's a nice to have for us. He's looking for the best pass blocker on the left side. That's what he's looking for out of his left tackle. Unfortunately, him just saying that casts a little bit of doubt in the idea of Braxton Jones really coming back to reclaim this position. I'll just be frank there. It does sound like it's one of these two guys, and I'm going to have to say, just by draft selection alone, Ozzie's going to be in the pole position. But you want this level of competition between the second-round pick of this year and the third-round pick of last year, just so you can push these guys and develop both of them more quickly. Gotta love it.
Yeah. And so let's get to the next. This is the next gradual part of the conversation because we need to talk about it. And I don't know, kids, did you see I don't know if you've seen your short out there today. I put a short out on you, and you had a really hot take on Braxton.
Was I talking about little people?
Not this time. Not this time. You have talked about little people, but I did not put that out.
Okay, all right.
So Braxton Jones, you had a hot take. You said something about you're going to predict. You predicted what's going to happen with Braxton Jones. Somebody's going to win the left tackle spot, and Braxton Jones is going to be on the sideline for the entire year, and they're going to end up cutting him and getting nothing from him. So do you still feel that way, or do you think Braxton Jones still stands an outside chance of getting his job back when he's healthy?
I still feel the same way. I am going to say little things. So little things to be said is he may get the opportunity to jump ahead of Karan if he shows that he's more adept than Karan is, right? If he can show that to this new regime and Ozzie goes down, perhaps he'll get the opportunity to play again. And that's really what, like, I don't want Ozzie to get hurt anytime. Like, I mean, knock on wood first. I don't want that to really go down. But if that does go down, it bodes well for the Chicago Bears because at that point they can put Braxton Jones back into the lineup just to showcase him to other teams for potential trade. That's really what they need to trade Braxton Jones yesterday.
Well, yeah, the thing is, Braxton needs to also get in the lineup too, because this is a contract year, and if he wants to make his, 15, 20 million, he has to show that he's able to play.
You got it.
Ryan Poles wants to get the best return possible for this 5th round pick, who will have value because it's at a premium position. He has to be able to show that he has value and can play. So they have to be able to get Braxton some kind of rep, some kind of way. It's in everybody's best interest. Maybe not Ozzy's and Karan's, but team-wise, as far as draft capital, Braxton Jones-wise, as far as contract capital, Braxton Jones needs to get his ass on the field and show that even if he has not improved his anchor, which I don't see how because he's been rehabbing a broken fucking ankle, show that he still has the mobility and the run game that he's, known for. So at least, we can say, hey, the kid can still play. Now, if Karan is still beat out by Braxton Jones, now I got to wonder. It's not that Braxton was, from a small school in the 5th round, or Karan was from a small school in the 3rd round. But we know Braxton's deficiencies. We've seen his entire career. Karan is still a big unknown. What we saw, we don't know. We think he has the traits to be better than Braxton, but I would really hope that Karan would be able to beat out Braxton just outright.
Here's a scary thing, fellas. It's not scary, but it's reality. There's nobody's put on pads yet, and I think we have a tendency to take off based on things we're hearing coming out of OTAs, and they're not really playing football, but it's about as close you can get to it today when you got 11 on 11 and everybody's kind of, getting the looks of what this is going to look like. But it's not football. When these guys put the pads on and Braxton Jones gets back into the fold at whatever point, and we just think, I feel like we have some pretty good tackles in Karan and Ozzy. I think they're pretty good. Pretty goddamn good. But at the end of the day, this is the guy that has the most reps, the most experience, and might be, I don't know how this thing plays out, but at the end of the day, like Tripp said, you just want the best guy on the field, right? There's a world where Braxton Jones ends up with the starting role.
He wants the best pass protector on the field, right? And that's the question. Braxton Jones is a great run blocker. He is. I'm not sure if he's ultimately the best pass protector. That's what's in scope. That's a big question. The other portion of this question is, again, he's hurt. He's probably not going to start the season. Somebody else has to start the season. So they're going to get the reps. How does he crack the lineup after that is really the question. If he just comes in and dominates and shows he's better than both these guys, that's a different story. He'll win his job back and be able to actually go out there and play. I highly doubt that that's going to be the situation, even just from a stability perspective or continuity perspective, right? Like, you just don't want to do that. So I don't know what happens here. I kind of don't like it because, like I've been harping, the Bears want to draft and develop players that they can trade for better draft capital at the very least. This is technically one of those situations. I have to say, traditionally, we fail every time at getting something out of these players that we develop. The list is too long to start.
Shout out to Lydia Manriquez. My fault. Lydia Manriquez. Shout out to you for busting up in this piece. Brandon Bias. Everybody
would be a starter when healthy. She's super confident.
Hey, man, look, I'm telling you guys right now. I didn't do that Braxton Jones breakdown for anything, for nothing.
Well, but no, the thing is, when Ben Johnson specifically said best pass protector, that is not Braxton Jones. And I can tell you that sight unseen with Karan and Ozzy. Because Karan and Ozzy, they're wide and thick on the lower half, unlike Braxton, who's got that bamboo, lower half. He got bamboo legs, a little no ass. Whereas Ozzy and Karan got redwoods for legs, the big thick hips and ass.
Bamboo is pretty hard to break now. I don't know if you ever had no bamboo.
Well, yeah, hard to break, but the strength and pushing off ain't there, and it snaps. You see how it snaps, as opposed to a redwood. You know what I'm saying? A bamboo ain't fucking with no redwood, and we want our left tackle to be a redwood, not a bamboo. Now bamboo's good. It's got its functionalities. It's very practical. It has many different uses, but you don't want bamboo as your left tackle.
I'm with it, man. Shout out to Sam. Samo's out there saying, I can't put it on. I agree, Keds, but we also have to consider the fact that the new offensive line coach could unlock Braxton with new and better technique. And again, shout out to you, Sam S. The normal. Shout out to Lydia too. These are all possibilities, and I'm not going to count them out. The problem is just that I don't know if he's going to make it to start this season, which means somebody else is going to steal reps from Braxton and potentially steal this job. If he can somehow rehab himself back into position early enough to start this year, all bets are off. But like Triple R was saying, Trips, you were saying that, this guy's got to get paid this year. This is a contract year. And that's what makes this whole thing very precarious.
I got a question for you guys. This is the last thing Braxton Jones related before we get to the next subject. We need to talk about some defense. Braxton Jones, let's just say, everything doesn't go the way we planned for it on the offensive line, not the team, just offensive line. And Braxton Jones ends up being the starter and playing the season as a left tackle and starting left tackle into the season. Do you sign him in the offseason, or do you still have faith in the other two guys? I think if he ends up starting, and finishing the season as a starting left tackle, I think it's time to pull out the checkbook.
Oh no, you know what I mean? Like you don't like. I'll be real about this. You don't want to pay Braxton Jones either because you've already spent a second and a third on the other two guys. Like you don't. So I would heavily suggest trading him for a fourth round pick, and you're doing good.
Because it's just a projection. Every draft pick is just what we think that he is.
Yeah, Braxton we have not. And I repeat with emphasis or emphasis, wherever you put the syllable. I repeat, we have not seen enough of Braxton Jones to be like, yeah, I'm comfortable with him watching Caleb Williams blindside for the next 4 to 5 years at $15 million a year. Get the fuck out of here. No. Every pass play is like, oh Lord, please don't bull rush him. Please, oh Lord, please don't get outside of him and dip back in because he's susceptible to that. Oh Lord, please, Braxton, stop falling on the quarterback backwards. Oh Lord, no. We have had enough. This is a position of need, a premium position that needs to be upgraded from what Braxton Jones is. Love the kid, beautiful personality, hard worker, not good enough. So, he has been paid, he has been measured, he has come up lacking for the long-term future at left tackle for the Chicago Bears. So we need Ozzie or Karan to step up because Braxton has not, in my opinion, earned a contract extension under this regime who have different requirements and different qualifications that they look for at left tackle, of which he don't fit.
Big shout out to Patty. Laura, good to see you out there, Patty. Shout out to Armando, our guy Junior too, man. Shout out to Junior. Look, Trip, you nailed it, bro. You nailed it. The fact is, again, they've already spent capital at this position 2 times over. A third and a second, which is better than the 5th rounder that Braxton Jones is. Yes, it's a projection, but they've spent the money already. So to pay Braxton means that they're out on the other 2 guys they just drafted. That's where the problem lies. They got to trade him.
Yeah. Either way it goes, I do think Braxton Jones, even though they said good things, they're just like at the beginning when Ben Johnson got here, he made it sound like it's his job to lose. When he's healthy, he's our starter. That's basically kind of what he said when he came to the Bears and he did his presser. You know, the funny thing about what happens when you start training and getting into camps and you got this role that you're supposed to be playing, it's supposed to be yours. Same thing with Luther Bird and Colston Loveland. I do worry about this. Somebody mentioned that earlier and asked, I think it was Illinois Jones asked, you know, are we worried about Luther Burden and Colston Loveland not being healthy and not having, you know, a role so far? Yeah, I just hope they're healthy for training camp. In OTAs, I'm just like, okay, all right. I wish they were there, but you know, you gotta get a good camp in before you can say to yourself you're fully ready for activities come regular season. You need that camp. You got to have it. You got to have it, especially when there's a new offense and everything is fresh and new. You got to have it. Same thing with Braxton Jones. You know, he's put in work and he has skins on the wall. He's played. But this is a new offense, new technique that's being asked of him. Everything is brand new. You can be on the sidelines getting all this information and watching, you know, getting your mind ready and getting mental reps and all that. But it is nothing that can replace on the grass action and getting those reps. If they are not ready for camp, I worry about Braxton Jones, Luther Burden, and Colston Loveland being any kind of productive like we want them to be this year.
Oh, can't argue with those statements, man, because I didn't see any. Well, maybe I did see all of this happening. The Braxton Jones situation was obvious. He got hurt late in the season. Is what it is. It's unfortunate. Colston Loveland, factually, they knew about this injury and drafted the kid anyways. Like, they were well aware. They also did that last year with Karan Amagaji. Just to put that out there and make y'all remember the fact that for some reason, Ron Post drafts hurt people and just doesn't give a damn about it. The Luther Burden situation is a little bit different. I'm under the impression it's a soft tissue injury that kind of happened after grabbing a pass.
Yeah, he landed on the ball or something.
Yeah, he landed funny. That's what they're saying. But he hasn't been back or better since. Hopefully he can recover. I think it's really important that at the very least one of these two threats is available this offseason to really acclimate to the new offense that's coming in the door. Without either one of them, I think Ben Johnson's got his work cut out for him for sure.
And it definitely is a negative that they being Braxton, Colston, and Luther. I said Luther, not Luther. On the field, you know, because you want everybody there to, you know, get those reps mentally to be on the same page from the beginning of the book. Whereas Braxton has experience. Yeah, you like that, right? Braxton has that NFL experience. So, you know, that's one thing. But this is a new offense for everybody. And if this was the playoffs, I think, you know, Colston and Luther would go. But you don't want to scratch up your brand new toys before you even get to play with them. So sit them out. You know, that's fine. And as Kaz was saying, Loveland, it was known that he wasn't going to be participating because he's, you know, healing up from that pec injury, which I heard he's like, you know, 90% healed from. And then if Burden injured himself, soft tissue injury, you don't want to stress or strain or pull anything that can be a now, you know, 4 to 6 month recovery time period. So there's no need to push the issue. Let them, you know, chill. It's not like they're in danger of not making the team, I don't think. So, you know, that just gives reps to, you know, other guys in the receiver and tight end room that may be on the bubble. So, you know, I'm not tripping. But I know that the attendance is 100%. Even though they can't, you know, participate, they are there.
Well, Andre Bryant's dropping dimes in the chat right now because he's saying that Luther might not be practicing because he didn't sign his contract. And that's an interesting little tidbit when I think everybody else has.
But no, there is a thing about the second round contracts because think it was the Texans and Miami. It was two teams that fully guaranteed their second round pick contract money. And previously,
but not everybody has to do it, is what you're saying?
No, previously only the first round picks were all fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
But these two teams fully guaranteed the second round picks contracts. And I think the rest of the league, none of which have signed the other second round picks, are now negotiating to see if they have to or don't have to fully guarantee, those contracts. And considering we have 3, second round picks, it just stands out more because of Turner, Burden, and who was it? Was it Ozzie? So
and Ozzie's second round too. Yeah.
And so that stands out a little bit more. But it's seems to be league wide thing as the precedent has been set because of the contract guarantees. So that's just something for the accountants to work out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, it could be, I don't know. I'll leave that to, you probably would know more about that than me, Trip, because this is what it is. This is NFL. I just want us to have every opportunity to get off to the best start we can get off to and have everybody all streams a go. You know what I mean? Just be ready. You know what I mean? So these 3 weeks that they're going to be away, get in gear, because I keep hearing this about, and this is true, man. You start thinking about this for yourself. Nobody expected Minnesota or Washington to do what they did. Neither are they expecting Chicago. We could be one of those teams that came out of nowhere. We could be, and I do think this schedule that we got, man, I know we were excited about it when it came out, and I think that all that high has come down, man. We got a hell of a schedule to deal with.
Look, bro, we lucked out the last 2 years. Those two schedules were easy. How they came out of those last 2 seasons with like 5 and 3 wins, I don't know what to say. But here we are. This schedule's pretty tough, and I hope the Chicago Bears come out swinging, ready for it, man.
They're gonna have to be, man. They need every advantage that they can get. I mean, health, and they need every opportunity to get on the grass with each other. To my Caleb and DJ and everybody, every one of those receivers, the offensive linemen need to spend time together. I mean, every little bitty advantage that you can take, they need to grab that, man, because this schedule is hell, dude. That's just all there is to it, man. So that's I just wanted to say that before we get to the next.
Hey, put up Samuel's comment there. Last comment. He said, Trips is right. The agents are trying to take guaranteed contracts as close to pick 50 as possible this season. So previously, if it was guaranteed money for first round contracts, that's 32. And so, now they're trying to bump it up to 50. Next season, they're going to try and probably bump it up to 75 or 80. You know what I mean? So what we've seen previously as contracts have to be, the biggest by $1 for 1 day. As these guaranteed contracts are growing, deeper into the draft, I think that'll be a continuous thing, especially if the salary cap keeps growing.
Either way, I'm never going to be mad for somebody just holding out to get a couple extra. I'm not mad at them whatsoever. What it's going to cost us, that's a whole other conversation, but get your money, young man.
Now, Andre saying Turner and Ozzie signed their contracts as second round picks. Luther's the only second round pick who isn't signed yet. Now, Luther was the first second round pick that the Bears had, so he would be in that top 50. Are Ozzie and Turner in that top 50 as well, or would they be outside of that 50?
I actually think they're both outside top 50. That being said, can you and either one of you look at Luther Burden's shit? I had a brain fart, man. Damn it.
Because he was picked in the top 40.
He's 30. He's 39. Luther Burden? I think Luther Burden was actually 39. And then they traded back the 40-odd pick, 41. They traded back 41 for something like 58.
Samo said it's 39.
Yeah, Luther 39. So when they traded back, they went beyond 50.
Can somebody find out what agency is representing Luther Burden? And let us know in the chat. Either one of you can do it too. I'm rocking a phone, or I would be the guy doing it.
If you don't mind, Trips, he's probably searching it.
Yeah, find out what agency. I bet you it's CAA.
Wait, what's that now?
CAA. I bet you they're the sports agency that represents Luther Burden.
Yeah, ain't no maniacs handle that, because I have no idea where to find that information.
All right, hey, we got to get.
But with that said, if that is the case, then if Burden is number 39, he is under that top 50. So, he wants his guaranteed money. And like Nomad said, I ain't mad at him. You know what I mean? This was the second round pick, get his money guaranteed. I want my millions guaranteed too. Man. And if my soft, tissue injury happens to keep me off the field because my contract ain't signed yet with my guaranteed money, however much it is, I can understand that as well. That's a business decision. And we want our team to be on the field and participate 100%. We want our players to take team-friendly deals, to free up cap for other players to help build the team. But there comes a point where, as a player, it's like, hey, fuck you, pay me. And if that's where he's at, I ain't mad at him.
Hey, the truth is, man, this is the bald-headed, ugly-ass truth. His first, and I'm knocking on wood right now, his first opportunity to get a bag could be his last opportunity to get a bag in this league, because the minute he steps out on the grass, you're at risk. That's it.
Should I saw somebody that blew an Achilles today in OTAs for another team?
Man, yeah, people don't realize how like we love people that love football. We want them out there, but to play football on this level, where there's money involved, boy, you better be smart and have some good people representing you.
Because it wasn't like he majored in, anthropology or geology. He majored in football.
FFG looked out for you, kids. He said it's David
Lorando.
I'm not familiar with him. I'm surprised it's not CAA or
there's some specific agencies that they go and get it. You know what I mean? I don't know about David Lorando.
Mm-hmm. All right, but look, y'all want to talk about some defense, or y'all want to continue this one?
No, let's get off this train until we finally see these kids play, right?
Talk some D.
So one of the things that you keep hearing coming up, and that is the defense, the new defense. And we've been so busy talking about Caleb Williams and everything else going on with the Bears right about now. I think we forget to talk about this defense that we're about to be dealing with. And all these guys are looking at new verbiage and new formations, new blitzes, and everything is new. And so people keep asking, I think it was asked to Montez Sweat, and I think it was asked to, Javon Dexter. And to me, they had similar answers. And so what you're seeing on the screen is a 4-3 base concept. And this is very basic. It's a pro-style offense, with a fullback and a halfback offset. There's another receiver behind Dennis Allen, but I had to make sure I put him on the image. But it's a base 4-3 concept with three linebackers on the field. So you got the Will on the right, you got the Mike in the middle, and you got the Sam linebacker, which we'll talk about that guy a little bit later on because that's interesting too. And no nickel cornerback on the field. So it's a basic concept. And so what happens in Flus's concept is this concept ended up being guys that fell back into zone coverage. Versus now, one of the things I heard Javon Dexter say this on Fox with Lou Canales, and I forget the lady's name, forget her name, but she's a Fox News broadcaster. One of the things he said was different about this defense versus what he's used to are the calls and all the live bullets flying. He said guys are flying all over the place in this defense, meaning that they're going to be running a whole lot of blitz packages behind him. Remember we had that conversation, Trips? Like the alignments and how he's going to be set up going from one spot to the other. And that's not going to be much different than what Flus was asking him to do. What's going to be different is making sure you have the proper alignment, the exact alignment, because you got to understand who's coming behind you on those blitzes. And so if you're not properly aligned, if you're a little bit off your alignment, that person coming behind you is going to have a hard time getting through that gap because you're in the way a little bit, right? And so
it's coordinated. Yeah.
Yes, it has to be coordinated.
What do you call that? A dance, you know, to an extent, because you look at the offense, you got the center, right guard, left guard, you got gaps, you know, the A gap, B gap, C gap. You got this defensive tackle taking the A gap. You got this defensive tackle taking the B gap over there, and you know, so forth and so on. Everybody has a responsibility of a gap. And so you have to do your job as these defensive players and be in the right gap to make this defense work. You know, somebody's in the wrong gap, as I mentioned before. Now you got an 80-yard house call because of the alignment. There's nobody to back up that guy who didn't do his job, because so many players are left in one-on-one situations where it's like, if you don't do your job, you know, there's nobody to stop from behind you. So you do your job, it's all good. So that is going to have to be something that Dennis Allen with this, what's that movie with Jim Carrey, Dumb and Dumber haircut? You know what I mean? I don't know what that's all about, but whatever. You know what I mean? So, you know, Dennis Allen has to get these guys to understand where to line up, and flying around. A name that I did hear a lot was Hippolyte, you know, flying around making quote unquote plays, you know, no pads, you know, but the flexibility of everybody in their gap and the speedy linebackers, cornerbacks, and or safeties able to blitz or run, you know, games behind it or in front of it is something, you know, that is not vanilla at all that we've been used to with this Flus defense. You know, this is very exotic. This is that rainbow cone type shit going on over there. So I'm looking forward to it.
To be clear, Trips, this concept looks more like what Flus's concept asked them to do in that concept. And I put Dennis Allen on here to, I guess, to contrast what we've been used to doing. So in this concept, you can see the linebackers, the Sam middle and the wheel linebacker. You see the arrows are pointing backwards, right?
So everybody's dropping back. Do you have one that looks more like an attacking version of this?
No. That's what I came to describe. What Dennis Allen does versus what Flus did. And these guys' roles are going to change because a lot of these dudes is like the linebackers in particular, the guys that have arrows pointing backwards and chasing in coverage, their arrows are going to be pointing forward. The safeties' arrows at times are going to be pointing forward. And everything is going to change for that front four and the linebacker core. Everything is going to change for them. Instead of chasing, they're going to be pursuing going forward. They're going to be going north-south. I mean, going north instead of going south and, you know, trying to prevent what's going on down the field. This is going to be totally different for them. This concept that Flus ran, they have to change their mindset completely. And so, again, talking about the front four and what's asked of them. And the key to what they're going to have to do is making sure that on that play, they have the proper alignment. No matter where they're lined up, if you're on the edge or if you're on the interior, if you don't have your proper alignment, the person that's coming behind him, that S, that M, and that W, that's probably going to be blitzing, coming down here trying to create pressure, they're going to have a hard time getting through because your ass is in the way because you didn't understand the call. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I love it.
So I just wanted to put that out there just as a basic. We'll get more into this, and I'll get a better graphic up here, but I just wanted to show.
It's a good depiction of bend don't break defense that Flus sort of put into place here. I'm interested to see how creative DA actually is with this and what he's going to do with it, because I can see, again, obviously SMW are going to flip. SS could flip. FS could flip. Less likely for FS. You can then incorporate your guy, your nickel into this, right? Take out one of these linebackers, bring a nickel in, and what do you do with him? Is he going to be dropping back into coverage? Doubtful. He's probably going to also be on that pressure move too.
Oh yeah,
so
definitely going to be a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, and I want to see what that looks like. I'm very interested, and I think the way that these guys are talking, you know what I'm saying? They're feeling it now. They're like, oh, we were not asked to do this type of stuff a year ago.
In case you didn't know, I did do a breakdown on the defense. It's on the channel.
Oh, sweet.
It's on the channel. Anybody that wants to see
What
it.
channel is that, Nomad?
It's on our channel, man. I did a breakdown probably 2 months ago when we got them. I broke down, what, in fact, the key positions for me, I think, is going to be the middle linebacker, the wheel linebacker, and the nickel corner. I broke down all three of those guys' roles and how it's going to change. And I pointed out, I took each player that we were talking about on there, I just replaced them with the players that we have on the roster. So you'll see, such and such playing for Kyler Gordon. You'll see such and such playing for TJ Edwards. You'll see such and such playing for the next player. I just tried to show what this is going to look like versus what Flus was doing. So I think it's a really good breakdown, man.
Yeah, that's a City Streets TV. Shout out to you, man. He's saying AAA, y'all. They ain't seen this offense. They not ready. Oh, you went with the wrong one.
Wrong one, man. There you go.
Thank you, brother. So they ain't seen this offense and defense before. Our offensive positions is way better than the lines, and they had Hutchinson. They played, what is it? Played day one, y'all easily with their eyes closed.
Street slang, boy.
I'm just saying, I kind of lost it at the end there, but I know what you're saying. We're a bit of an enigma on both sides of the ball. Let me just paraphrase you, brother. Let me paraphrase you, man. We're an enigma. Nobody knows what's going on offense. They might have a bit of an idea. Nobody knows what's going on defense. Again, might have a little bit of an idea, but they ain't seen none of this from Chicago yet. Not with the talent they have. It could be crazy, both sides of the ball.
Another thing that I should point out, and
hold on before you get to another thing on that point, building on that, that first 4 weeks when we get to the bye, teams will now have 4 weeks of film and go, okay, this is what they like to do. This is the Bears' identity under Ben Johnson, blah, blah, blah. Now you open up a new part of the playbook. And so teams that are prepared for that first 4 weeks of material, now you got, the next chapter of the playbook that teams are not prepared for because they still haven't seen it. So there's the opportunity for every few, weeks or every game, actually, depending on the matchups, you're going to see new plays that we haven't seen before here. Now as subsequent seasons go on, we'll see more of the same plays. But this whole season could be just new on both sides of the ball for everybody.
True, Trips. Another thing I might want to, I think it'd be a good idea to point this out. Something I've been hearing, and I don't know that, it could be something going on with Andrew Billings that we don't know, but Andrew Billings hasn't been getting reps with the ones, with the D tackles. It's been Javon Dexter and it's been Grady Jarrett next to each other. And if you see this graphic, the defense, the maroon guys, the guys in the red, that's the defense. And so the tackles, the interior guys in the middle, RDT and LDT, that's Andrew Billings or Javon Dexter and Grady Jarrett. In this concept, you don't see a guy directly over the center, do you? There's no guy over the center. So in this concept, which you find quite often in Dennis Allen's concept, it's a lot like this. The front is a lot like this. So you don't have a guy shaded over the center. Very, very every now and again, he'll get a guy to get a cock nose stance and go like that. But very rarely do you have that big, juicy guy in the middle of the defense, you know, you just hard to find that guy in Dennis Allen's scheme. And so it looks more like a Javon Dexter type of body versus next to a quick, more, I guess, a more explosive, dynamic type of 3-tech kind of guy. And so it's the same position. They're both on the same sides of the ball. But, you know, that big, huge body, it's hard to find that in Dennis Allen's concept. It's hard to find it. Now, I'm not saying that Andrew Billings won't be the starter, but it doesn't surprise me based on what I've seen on the film. So you guys go check out that breakdown. You'll see what I'm talking about. There might not be a true nose tackle in this defense.
I don't know how the alignment will, you know, work its way out, as there's a lot of flexibility with the players. They can play tackle, they can play edge, you know, inside, outside. Yeah. There's a lot of that positional versatility. Mm-hmm. But as far as Billings goes, at this point in his career, I mean, you know, we love the guy. He's possibly contemplating retirement, as we had his blood on, you know, KB, shout out. If Billings is more of a rotational, you know, D tackle, whereas, you know, we're playing a team that is featuring a run and really trying to pound it up the middle, you know, then, you know, you can see Billings getting more reps. But just the base defense, you know, of a Dio at right defensive end, and then Big Dex, and then Jarrett, and then Montez Sweat at left defensive end. That's a very formidable defensive front.
Hell yeah.
Because many of those guys are going to require double teams, and you can't double team them all. You know, I don't know how that front four will, you know, stop the run. You know, I don't know. Because Billings is a run stuffer. That's what he does. He's quick off the ball, and he can take up, you know, a lot of space. That front four, though, of those guys, you know, that's something that could give offensive coordinators the bubble guts the week before a game playing this defense, you know, with just those four. And now you got Dennis Allen, you know, being creative and bringing different guys from different positions. You know, you got a lot of guys on the line of scrimmage, pre-snap. You're confusing the blocking schemes for the offensive line. They don't know who's attacking who. They don't know where's the pressure's coming from. You know, so there's so much to look forward to that, you know, you can't help but get excited unless you think about history. But if you put history out of your mind, you know, it's exciting.
So think about it this way. I'm just trying to give people a clear picture of what Dennis Allen might be thinking. If I was him, I'd be thinking something along these lines. Okay, you give Grady and Javon interior, Montez Sweat on the outside, Dio on the other side, right? And how do you fortify that second unit? You put Billings on the second unit, and you put Booker out there, and you put whoever else on the end, and you put probably Zach Pickens or somebody, whoever it is, or Shamar Turner will be that guy in there. It could be Turner, Billings right next to each other. So you got a big guy and a dynamic spark plug next to each other again on that second unit. And you got some young guys that are going to feed off the fact that one of those two guys on the interior, they're going to want to double team probably Billings at least. And then you got three guys getting a one-on-one on your second unit, not your first.
Well, do you think that Ford can be developed into a Billings replacement?
Yes. No question about it. That's why, you know, it's going to be hard for them at the end of this to try to get down to about, I think they're going to go 8 or 9 at least. I think they'll go 9 in D linemen. I think there'll be 9 of those guys, a pair and a spare for each position. So it's going to be rough, man, but I do think we're going to break this down a whole lot more as we get into the season. But I feel like I know what he's thinking. He's trying to fortify that second unit and not using Andrew Billings as a starter is one way to do that. You're going to really fortify that second wave by having him on the field, and whoever is out there with him, if somebody's going to get a one-on-one, and they're going to have a better chance to get to the quarterback, right?
Because I think what you just put down is brilliant, bro, because That makes for a really dangerous second rotation. It also makes it so that Billings doesn't necessarily have to have a lot of snaps. It reduces snap count a little bit, keep him healthy. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think that could be what he's thinking. That would be my thoughts. You know, you're going to you need to fortify that second unit instead of having a bunch of young guys out there inexperienced. Put some experience out there with them. You know, so that's my thoughts on that. But let's get to some other stuff. And also, man, before we get out of this, something interesting I keep hearing about is, you know, Jalen Johnson has been out doing his camp. He's out in Cali doing a camp, I think, and he's excused. He's got an excused absence. And who's been playing for him in replacement is Nashawn Wright, guy we picked up in free agency that Al Harris had his hands on in Dallas. 6'5", about 195-pound corner, 200 pounds, however big he is. But he's been getting reps with the ones with Jalen Johnson out. Surprise, surprise. And I heard he's been playing.
Yeah. It sounds like Nashawn Wright, who has the physical makeup, you know, of Al Harris himself, is the new what was that other kid? Jalen Jones.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it seems it's like, you know, Mr. Wright is sliding into Mr. Jones's spot quite nicely, because Jalen Jones was always the guy to come in when Jalen Johnson went out. And so if he's running with the ones and he's able to make some plays, cool. Because remember, Wright is not a rookie. He's had time in the league, a couple different teams. So he has experience that the speed is not too fast for him. He can, you know, come in and, you know, claim that backup cornerback spot if nobody else is really stepping up. And he could probably be an upgrade over Jalen Jones as well.
Another little note, and I know we're talking about defense right now. Another note, and I'll take this down while we talk about it, is my understanding is Olamide Zaccheaus, slot receiver that we signed in offseason. I mean, I told people, I was like, man, that's not a signing to be slept on. This guy, with Luther Burden not getting reps right now for whatever reason those are, Olamide Zaccheaus has turned into, it sounds like at least today in the last couple of days, Caleb Williams' favorite target. And he was out there, you know, taking off on these guys today. So he's sounding really, really good. I heard good things about Devin Duvernay. You know, Olamide Zaccheaus was one of the guys that I keep hearing is making some noise out there, and he's getting a lot of. So I told kids this, and I believe you were on the show when we did this. I don't know if it was Nomad at Night or some extra sauce, but I told kids this. I said the slot receiver is the key. Everybody, the tight ends are the key too, but the slot, I was just about to say, kids, I bet you that motherfucker got some DoorDash or something.
Mm-hmm.
No,
but remember when I told you slot receiver?
Yeah, it's strawberry.
You know what it is, man. I got a little bit of strawberries at the Walmart on sale. They're delicious. But look,
remember when I told you how important the slot receiver is going to be in this offense? The whole offense is going to be driven by what the slot receiver does.
So I'm going to say some things now. So who was his favorite target last year?
Whose? Caleb's? Oh, it was Keenan when he was playing in the slot.
You know who it is, right? So what is that going to mean for us moving forward? It's going to mean that the guys on the outside, if we're hearing it again, we're hearing it again. He's locked in on that slot, man. Now, I don't like that. I'm just going to tell you that straight up and down. I don't like it. But you know who might like it?
Because it's Olamide Zaccheaus?
So, no. You just also said Devin Duvernay. Both those guys are playing in the slot.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen was playing in the slot. That means he's locked in on that slot as his go-to guy. That means low numbers for potentially DJ Moore and Roma Dunze.
Pluto in practice.
Say again?
They had DJ in the slot as well.
I was just gonna say, I was literally gonna say, I was like, watch them move DJ into the slot because that's where the activity is. We also know that Ben Johnson loves the slot too. He loves to utilize the slot. That's where Amon-Ra St. Brown really worked and made made a real name for himself out there in Detroit, right? So I can see that slot position being used in a major way, and if it is, we might see either DJ or Rome move into that role. Don't be surprised if that's what happens.
Yeah, I can tell you something, man. Watching that Detroit tape, and I'm just gonna have to do it live with you all and just to show you. It shouldn't surprise you when after you watch film that he's gonna tell all the slot receivers learn the X, all the slot receivers learn the Z. He's gonna tell all the Z receivers learn the slot, and vice versa, all the way around the block, so that they can be interchangeable. So that when those formations come out there and they're used to looking at on film, okay, I know when Olamide is in the slot or Luther's in the slot or DJ's in the slot, they're gonna run this. You know what I mean? Or when Olamide is at the Z or DJ's at the Z, and vice versa. When you got them thinking about it, that's you already in you on their ass because they don't know exactly what's coming at them. Because everybody.
What else does that do, Nomad? Matchups.
Yes, causes a matchup problem.
You know what I mean? You got your passing game coordinator sitting up, and Press Taylor is sitting up in the press box, looking down, being like, "Hey, the starting cornerback or the nickelback just went out with an injury. Now they got a backup in, and now the backup's matched up against DJ. DJ's eating against that. Now the backup's matched up against Rome. Whoever the fuck the backup is matched up against, Caleb needs to recognize that and be able to, exploit those things. And so having that versatility of knowing all the positions, the defense don't know who's doing what because everybody can do everything. And now Duvernay and Zacchaeus, they can take those Keenan Allen reps, and guess what they can do that Keenan Allen couldn't? They can take it to the house on any one of those catches. So, that's an upgrade right there as far as the big play bounty and chasing that Ben Johnson likes. Because guess what? Even if you throw the ball 15 yards and the receiver gets another 80 yards to pay dirt, that's what is that? I don't know the fucking math, but I think that's a 95-yard pass play. That's a big play. It's not a 10-yard pass play, because you got that Yaki added on there. And the talent we have now has more yak potential. And so now these short dump offs, these short, plays under 20 yards have that much more potential to be house calls because of the upgrades of Zacchaeus and Duvernay. And like somebody said in the chat also, Scott, he's somebody else that if he can get the ball in his hands, he can take it to the house. But now the ball in his hands that's a whole different subject. But yeah, the burn potential and finding that rhythm and just getting everybody to be in the best position possible, no matter where they're lined up, is a beautiful thing.
Hey, Trips, I got to mention this to you before I forget about it. But I remember in our first playoff game as a senior in high school, senior football in high school is pretty damn basic. It's not a whole lot of nuance going on. It's not a whole lot of nothing. It's just we think we're better than you. You got to stop us. Try to do it. And so basically, the first team we played in the playoffs, I ain't gonna mention the team, but we played it was out of Joliet, and you could tell that they watched a lot of film on us, and they were calling out stuff live during the game. They were just calling out stuff. Okay, this is that. You see how they lined up? This is this. And I went to the sideline. I was just like, you don't hear him. I told my coach, you don't hear him out there calling out the plays. This is with us on offense. I'm the Z receiver. My homeboy was the X receiver. And I told him, I said, man, just flip us. Put me at Z. I mean, put me at X. He's like, do you know? I said, I know everything. He knows everything. Just flip us and watch what happens. They flipped us and we went into a hurry up. And so immediately when they saw us on opposite side, it went totally against what they had seen on film, and they didn't know what to do about it. They didn't know what to do about it. You seen him out there immediately communicating, hey, watch for this, watch for that. And they're just like, it's too late now. We're finna get the playoff. And then we just got in a hurry up, made them call a timeout, and we just kept doing that back and forth. And they just struggled with it. These are the things you can have an advantage with. If you get used to seeing something on tape, so the players they feel like they know what's coming at them. And if you F around and change it up, you're just gonna make them. If you got them communicating at the last second, you got them. If they're still communicating right before you snap the ball, it's they asses out. And so that mismatch advantage, the not knowing, not understanding what's coming at them, because everybody can play each role equally, that's a huge advantage. So those guys are going to be moving around, whether it's DJ, Luther Burden, Olamide Zaccheaus, Rome, they're all going to get interchanged in and out of those.
I mean, let me ask you this, Nomad.
Yo.
You got you're on defense. You're the defensive coordinator, and you're facing let's say a Colston Loveland at tight end, a Burden, a Rome, and a DJ. So you got those four just wide receiver weapons. We're not even going into the running backs. Mm-hmm. So you got these four weapons, wide receiver-ish. Now you get into a hurry-up situation, and they're coming out of the huddle, and they're all lining up at different positions. You know, as a defensive person on the field, what do you do? I mean, it's like, who do you cover? It's like, oh, shit, Loveland's out at the X. Well, do we send a linebacker out there? And then who's in the slot? And so how does that mess up a defense's call if you got these guys in a hurry up formation and a hurry up series all lining up in different spots?
So it depends. First thing I would tell you, it depends on what package. So if you caught me in the base setup where I still have three linebackers on the field, I'm screwed. So especially if one of those linebackers is covering Colston Loveland, I'm screwed. Now, if you caught me in my sub package with the nickel on the field, I feel really, really good. First thing I'm going to do, if I'm in my either one of those situations, if I got the three linebackers on the field, I'm almost forced to play some kind of zone coverage because of that third linebacker on the field. But if you catch me in my sub package while I got Kyler Gordon on the field, I'm just going to tack up and play man until my front four get home. And I'm going to have confidence, and I'm not going to be floose. You know, I'm going to play it aggressive. And I'm going to say, you know what? You get paid just like that dude across from you. Tack up and make the quarterback have to throw a nice-ass ball. You're going to have to throw a perfect ball because my guys are going to be tacked up on you. I'm going to have confidence in my guys.
And so that sounds like a Dennis Allen kind of mantra.
That's definitely Dennis Allen. That is exactly how he thinks. But let's get to the next thing, man, and that is defensively. Let's talk about these guys right here. Hey, man, let me tell you guys something. Again, in the offseason, I kept on saying, I was just like, based on what I understand, based on what I've seen in Dennis Allen's type of defense, I think Noah Sewell is going to fit perfectly in what they want to do at whatever linebacker role they give him, whether it's Sam, Will, middle, whatever it is, Mike, whatever. I thought, no question, and he's been constantly getting run at the Sam linebacker. He's been running with the ones every OTAs, every practice. He's with the ones. And right now, Ruben Hippolyte is running with the ones because I think TJ's got a soft tissue injury that he's dealing with. So he's getting some valuable reps too. And I hear he's all over the place. But people are raving about how good Noah Sewell looks out there, along with Ruben Hippolyte. But I told you, man, I told you guys that this is going to fit what Noah Sewell is as a linebacker way better than playing in zone coverage and like those arrows showed, have to running back and covering the space. He gets to go downhill and be aggressive like he is and play the kind of football that he wants to. I'm so excited to see this guy get his opportunity now after Flus is gone, playing the kind of defense that I know he's capable of playing.
All right. It's an interesting one. I'm also interested. like I said, all my only criticism of Noah Sewell is just he's never on the field. So if he's out there practicing his ass off and potentially carving a new place for himself, I've heard he's been getting a couple of middle linebacker reps backing up Tremaine. That's actually super cool too. So if we can fill that kind of role, especially with Jack Sanborn gone, that's a really good place for him to wind up. I've also been hearing great things about Hippolyte too. I'm just as surprised by the pick as anybody you could potentially ask, especially where it was and when. But sounds like he's been knocking the ball out frequently in practice. Sounds like he's making his impression felt, and that's really what you want to hear from another linebacker on this team. You got a pretty decent linebacking core, but if we can get a little bit out of Noah Sewell, and if we can get a little bit out of the other gentlemen who were back there, Daniel Hardy, my guy Eamon Agbagbamiga, and Ruben Hippolyte, that'll bode very well into the season, because what we're looking at here now, bro, what we're looking at is having two viable full rotations, right? You just brought up the defensive line rotation. There could be a really interesting secondary rotation at linebacker too.
Man, so Carl Jones gets no love. That's fucked up.
Yeah, no love. I'm sorry.
So it's nice to see Sewell actually on the field. As Kaz was saying, that was his issue. Because when he was on the field on special teams previous season, he was always around the ball.
Yeah, but he wasn't and that's the difference between him and Daniel Hardy, right? Daniel Hardy's actually involved in the play. You know what I mean? He's making the play. So
Trips, you know what? When you watch this stuff on film, and you like if I turned on Noah Sewell film as a Chicago Bears, and I turned you on and showed you the contrast between that and him playing at Oregon, the difference would be so humongous. It would blow you away. And you could tell, like when you be out there enough, you can tell when people are thinking, and when people ain't, they're just out there flying around playing football. You can tell he was thinking too much.
Well, that was the reference I made earlier between, playing at a 4.3 speed versus playing at a 4.6 speed. Sewell was playing at that 5.2 speed a lot of times.
He's thinking.
He's thinking too much. And as far as physically, could he have been held off of the field because of a Flus issue? That's possible, because he wouldn't be the only one looking at you, Kwani B. But also, Sewell has had the opportunity to be in the Hallis Hall weight room under a regimen to develop his body physically, to make him stronger, and faster. We can, not give him a bionic eye, but we can help build his physical traits along with his instincts. And in college, his instincts were very good at linebacker. He knew how to sniff out the hole, find the ball carrier, get to the quarterback. If he can do that in this Dennis Allen defense, that'd be a beautiful thing. Hippolyte, it was funny on that 1920 Bears drive, or Hallis Hall, whatever the fuck it is. Ryan Poles, after he drafted Hippolyte, was like, I wonder if they got a highlight for this kid. Because nobody expected him to be drafted where he was.
Dude, he was projected undrafted, period, right? Like he wasn't even invited to the combine or nothing like that.
But yeah, but that's the thing, though. He wasn't invited to the combine, or he was invited to like one bowl game, or not bowl game, but MVP game, or prospect game. But other than that, he got no shine, no love from any of the draft quote unquote gurus to put him, on the map at all.
Yeah.
But you look at his tape, you look at his traits, and it's like, yeah, he's a little short. You know what I mean? And the short people got no reason, to live. But he be all right. But his speed, I think, makes up for that. And his instincts also help with that. So he's short in height, but his instincts and speed, you know what I mean? They overcome those circumstances. And if he's the intelligent guy that he was in college, he'll be wearing that green dot in no time. And he will be the backup to the middle linebacker, whoever that may be. whether it's Tremaine or however that works out. And so, you know, Hippolyte is going to be part of the future and in the linebacking core. It may not be this season because of how deep the room is with maturity ahead of him, but he's somebody that's going to be, you know, regularly seen on special teams, regularly seen, you know, when a linebacker has to, you know, take a blowout for a minute. So he will be involved, but I think his starting won't be until like next season or beyond.
Okay, let me give you just let me get specific about, and I hear you, Trips, about Hippolyte. Middle linebacker, I think he's got the speed and the kind of FBI football intelligence to play either role. You know, the height, you know, might be a little questionable, but I don't think that's a much a difference in this defense as it would be in Flus's defense. So I can see where you're coming from, and I believe that. Now, in particular, talking about how Noah Sewell and how you can overthink something. All right, say, you know, Pat, imagine yourself on the defensive side of the ball, Trip. So you're Noah Sewell, you're playing Sam like a linebacker. So you're looking at the offense. You're on the right-hand side. So your role, your alignment is to be on the right butt cheek of the defensive tackle over there. So your alignment is right there. So you're going to be somewhere on the outside of the offensive tackle. I mean, the offensive guard. So you're right on the butt cheek. So you got alignment right behind that defensive tackle there. Now, they're in a twins formation. The offense is in a twins formation. There's a tight end in the twin set. So you got a wide receiver flanked all the way out, and you have a slot receiver on the interior, right? And his job is to make sure if you see this is your alignment. Now, all of a sudden, the quarterback calls a shift, and the tight end slides in the inside, and he gets in line right next to the tackle. So what do? You're taught to make sure you adjust your alignment to that. Now, after that, after he shifts inside, now the running back comes outside to the slot and replaces him. Those are the things that he has to think about before the play even happens. And do I have the right alignment, and what's my coverage and my leverage here? You could see the thoughts on his head when that stuff was happening in front of him. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I don't think zone coverage for Noah Sewell is the best fit. This what Dennis Allen wants to do helps him play more instinctive and use his FBI, his football intelligence, to find the ball and hit it. That's the difference. That's the difference. You're playing grass versus playing a man and playing a more attack style defense. That's why I think Noah Sewell's I think he's gonna tear this shit up. Be quite honest with you.
Like I said, I don't know, bro. Sounds good from a scheme perspective. I would love to see it on the field. So big ups to Noah Sewell. Hopefully he can do a whole heck of a lot of that.
And in the self-defense world, when somebody attacks you, you have to respond and react. Two different things. Your response is a mental processing of the situation. The reaction is what you do after processing that information, what you do physically. Noah Sewell looked like his response, as Nomad was saying, his processing time was way too long. Now his reaction was good because he has the physical tools with the speed and the size, but his responding time has to get faster. Now, this is a whole new defense. He's going to have different responsibilities, need to be in different places, but it's more suited to what he was in college. Now, that begs the question, well, why would they draft Sewell if he really didn't fit what Flus was doing? Who knows? Who cares? I mean, that's a back then question, but one for the ages. But Hippolyte, looking at if there's a head-to-head linebacker competition, who has the upper hand? Is it Sewell because he has a little more experience in the league, or Hippolyte because he's actually Dennis Allen's choice and not inherited, an inherited player? So, I mean, if it comes down to that, Sewell is really going to have to show that he is head and shoulders above Hippolyte, not just in height, short people, but in play wise, because if it's even close and Sewell's on a bubble and Hippolyte is like, well, he's not that far off from Sewell, or they're kind of neck and neck. Yeah, Sewell's gone. And Hippolyte's staying, taking that spot.
If it's down to that and that particular role in particular, you're talking about a Sam linebacker, and knowing that role and what they have to do is a lot of tackling, a lot of hitting, a lot of taking on blocks from tackles, tight ends, and all in between. Physicality makes a whole lot of difference in that role. And so if you wanna look at it that way, you're gonna say, okay, this guy is basically a Sam linebacker. When you leave him on the field, he's there for run support. The quicker guy is the nickel corner. When you can put your sub package in there, that's when you take that guy off the field. So he's there for a run supporter, and advantage Noah Sewell.
Different positions.
The 250 pounds.
Yeah, different positions. So who's Sewell's direct competition? Would that be Amen and or Carl Jones?
Probably would be Amen Abagbamiga. So they're giving Hippolyte more reps at will, which is that's the fast running linebacker's role. That's what Will does. Will and middle are more your fast, quick, twitchy roles. The Sam linebacker is more the I need to make sure I get this block set up and get off this block and support the run versus those. Yeah, they're two different beasts, man. So I don't think Ruben Hippolyte should be nowhere in the conversation for
okay, well then flip it up from what you saw from Amen and Carl Jones, and it comes to a bubble position. You can only keep one between Sewell, Amen, and Carl.
I'm taking Noah Sewell.
Who you got, kids?
He gonna say
I'm say what?
You gonna say Amen Abagbamiga?
You damn know who I'm gonna say.
He's more of a middle linebacker, will linebacker, in my opinion, but he can play the Sam.
The Sam's really where the opportunity is. I saw a lot of him. I saw a lot of plays from him last season. So again, I'm just going with what I've seen on grass so far, right? Versus potential. So that's where I am here.
Yeah. Well, I look at it like this: whoever wins, the talent upgrade since Poles' arrival is very distinct.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So we got that going for us.
It's going to be interesting. I do think I'm definitely giving Noah Sewell the leg up because the position definitely fits who he is as a player, and it's not hard to see. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Noah Sewell was high on that board when Dennis Allen was still in New Orleans, and he's probably chopping at the bit to get his hands on him because he knew he was in the wrong structure. So that's why I'm high on Noah Sewell. It's just the scheme. And what I know Noah Sewell's capable of doing when they ask him to do this particular thing, and when it comes to running and being downfield and covering, that's a whole different thing. He's got the speed to do it, but there are other linebackers that are that would be better suited to be a coverage linebacker. That's why you have Will and Mike linebackers. They do most of that, covering up the running backs and the tight ends. That's just what they do. Just know that the Sam linebacker is there for run support. And when they don't predict there's a run coming, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be Kyler Gordon on the field or another.
Who's the Jackhammer Sanborn replacement?
That is Noah Sewell.
Okay.
That is Noah Sewell. All right, let's get to some other conversations. And this is, I really, really, really was kind of irritated listening to this guy at the presser. Not him, but listening to the questions that people just – I don't know what it is about Bears fans and Bears. I can't even call it the fans. I would just say it's part of the fans, and it's also the reporters. They just do. Like, holy shit, it was irritating listening to these guys question this guy. They don't want to let him live this down of what happened in the Washington game. And to credit to Tyreek Stevenson, he definitely matured. And I don't know what what happened with him, but I can sense a growth spurt on him that was humongous because he handled that in stride. He didn't get upset about it. He wasn't trying to hurry up and move on and kind of, dismissing the questions. But people don't want to let that go. And you know what? It was a bad moment for the kid, man. It was a terrible moment for him.
What to ask him?
About, how did these coaches, how did they address you about what happened in the Washington game? What the fuck do these coaches care about what happened last year? This is a whole new regime. Why do they even need to have that conversation?
I don't know, because this coaching staff was like, hey, Caleb, I know your ribs is busted, but sit up straight and don't show no pain. DJ, stop crying like a little wench. Walk your ass to the huddle like a man. Hey, the play don't work, though. They're all over the body language. And so, this regime is like, the way y'all did shit last year is not flying this year. And so it's kind of a fair question, because it's like, hey, Tyreek, this offseason, did you get your head out of your ass? And how's this coaching staff dealing with you?
It's so goddamn.
Here's where it's unfair. Like, and I'm with you, Nomad. I'm with you, bro. Like, where it's unfair is just in the point that all of this could have been avoided. It all could have been avoided. A certain human being could have did this T motion with his hands. Like, I can't do it, but you know what I mean? T, you make a T with your hands on the sideline, and there's this special thing. It stops time. It freezes time. And
like,
during that,
Chris Webber.
Yeah, hey, Chris Webber did that. Chris Webber's famous for doing it. You know what I'm saying? It freezes time, and once time is frozen, all of this magical F-up disappears. Instead, a certain somebody has no idea how to do this magical T hand gesture, and it leaves this kid out on an island looking like an absolute fool. Now, I'm also going to say that, like, he was out there looking like a fool. Yeah, he was out there doing foolishness. You're like, fair. But should we really be hanging him out to dry here 12 months later? Or should we be looking at the coach who could have just nipped this whole shit in the bud one time?
But we can't let it go, kids and nomads and no maniacs. You know why?
Why?
Because on the schedule reveal video, I believe it was the commies who had the little dig dug action figure things, the little thing where they dig and mine stuff, Minecraft, not Minecraft. Sure. And they had a little 29 Bears player in Minecraft.
Oh, really?
Down at the 5-yard line, waving at the crowd or whatever the fuck, and the play was going on behind them like in real life. So
so they thought it was. I hear you. So they thought it was Tariq Stevenson's fault that our head coach allowed them to get into Hail Mary range. It was Tariq Stevenson's fault. Okay,
well,
cool.
No, that wasn't his fault. They weren't blaming the flus. They don't give a shit about the flus. They were just.
This is my point. This is my point.
Point that the kids down there, razzing with the fans and not having his head in the game, which is another flus point that you have a defender on your defense who
doesn't have his head in the game. You need to call timeout and make sure that he has his head in the game.
But also you need to know, or the players need to know that, hey, we're still playing until that clock reads 0-0, motherfucking 0. Keep your head in the goddamn game, and that's another flus thing that he was not, adapted of, having the players focused from start to finish. Because how many times did this team, start like shit and didn't play until halftime? Then at the end of the game, when he shit the bed, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, Tyreek Stevenson, as we get back to him, his play was decent on the field. It was just his mental capacity. But
he's a young man. He's a bit of a head case. We know that.
That's all I can stand. That's all I can stand, and I can't stand no more.
If he's able to understand that for the rest of his career, he's going to get roasted for that situation.
Oh my God!
I mean, that's just historically what it is.
Let me say something, man.
You know what I mean? That's like that time you remember in high school when you had to boo-boo in school and you came out with that toilet paper on your shoe, and for the rest of the year you just known as shit foot.
This fan base in particular is sometimes, I'm not even going to call the fan base out, and I'm talking about the media. There's something about he needs to be held accountable. I want to see discipline. This whole mindset here, and you forget that this is, number one, it's a game. Number two, he's a young guy, man, very, very young, very, very emotionally immature, very immature. You know what I mean? That was just pure immaturity that you've seen on the field that night. What really bothers me is people want to keep bringing that shit up, and it's just let me finish, please. Okay, all right. It's not necessary in this way because it's a bad moment. It's a bad moment for this young man's career, but Tyreek Stevenson is a very, very good player. And he's had some really, really good plays since he's been here in the Chicago Bears. And we seem to not remember those things because of that moment. And so what I'm saying is this guy, what he has to bring to the table versus what people want to fucking talk about because they can't get the hair out of their ass. And that's all they want to talk about.
There is a name for it. I mean, it's known as the Hell Maryland. I mean, when you have a play named, whether you were the cause of it or not, but he is seen as the cause of the Hell Maryland, that's gonna be on his card. You know what I'm saying? His football card, his player card.
Do we need to keep bringing that? Really?
No, but so no matter. I know how you feel, but Tripp is actually he's actually a little bit correcting, and
I'm not saying. Can we rise above that shit?
Oh, hey, well, we don't. I'm right there with you. But here's the thing. So even Andre out there saying like, look at Mark Sanchez and the butt fumble. That was the thing that just sort of defined the man's career. Unfortunately, for Tyreek Stevenson, this is a scar. This is a deep scar. And what he needs to do now is he's got to let that scar grow into a massive chip on the shoulder that he brings to friggin' work every bloody day. And you know what I mean? And shows and proves that he's over it and he's above it and he was always better than it. And I believe he can do all of those things. But again, in my opinion, I don't hold him to account for any of that. That was all of that is Matt Eberflus. All of that is Matt Eberflus. We can look at the number 29.
That's cool. That's cool, kids. We know it's the Flus, and that's why he's the fuck gone. Yeah. But on Stevenson, we want to, be like, hey, yeah, that happened. It was a bonehead mistake. Your career is not defined by that. Go ahead, live long, prosper, make a lot of interceptions, tackles, all that good shit. But how many times do you think the media is going to mention it when the Bears are out at the commies this season?
Yeah, at least 15 times for sure.
You know what I mean? So that's something that, whereas we want to move on, let it go, he's going to have to develop that scar, that scat, that keloid, whatever, to understand that, you're the Maryland, the Hell Maryland guy, 29 for the Bears. They won't know his fucking name, but they'll know 29 for the Bears. It's like, you're the bonehead. And it's like, you're gonna have to eat that. You know what I mean? Rest of his career. I mean, that's just what it is.
It is what it is, man.
It sucks. We'll get off this because I don't want to keep going on with this.
It sucks.
This is this, and we're talking about reporters asking the questions. Hey, did the coaches address you about what happened in the Washington game? Did they hold you to account? Why in the fuck would they? They weren't here. Number one. Number two, that's over. He's a young dude. That was a play that he that was it. And so that's what that is. I'm never, ever. I know how good Tyreek Stevenson is. I know how bad that play was. When you put him in comparison, I'll Pac-Man the shit out of how good Tyreek Stevenson is. Fuck all that.
You were a DB. You played.
I'm moving to the next subject.
What does the first day that Al Harris comes into Hallis Hall and meets with Tyreek Stevenson, and that comes up for some reason, that play? What as Al Harris, what do you tell Tyreek Stevenson?
That shit ain't gonna come up.
Well, it just did in the press conference.
I'm talking about, you said when Al Harris meets him?
Well, I mean, when Al Harris has to address Tyreek Stevenson and this thing comes up because it won't die. The media talks about it and somebody mentions it, but you're Al Harris and have to address Tyreek Stevenson about the whole Hail Maryland situation. How do you do that?
I would assume that already happened, and he just told Tyreek, just be mature about it. They're gonna want to talk about it. Just let them know you're moving on, and that is done. And you move to I'm sure that's already happened already. I don't think he needs
now as Al Harris, the defensive backs coach. How do you address Tyreek Stevenson to keep his head in the game so that this does not happen again?
I won't need to. I won't need to at all. Well, we're going to move to the next subject, man, because I don't want to talk about that shit no more. That's enough of that bullshit. But this happened today, and this guy's getting run with the ones today. And why I use this graphic, I could have made a graphic with Chris Williams on his own. That would have been okay. But the fact that I haven't heard one time, not once, guys, that Zach Pickens is out there and he's looking, they've had something to say about pretty much every single player. You heard something about everybody.
Well, didn't I hear that he wasn't even there?
I don't even know. That's what I don't know, Trips. I don't know if he's out there. If he's out there, is he making any kind of noise? Are people noticing? That's the thing. Chris Williams is getting the attention. He's playing with the ones.
See, he's somebody that we didn't even mention earlier when we were talking about Jarrett and Billings and them. And
that's because neither one of them is going to make the team. I'm just like, let's just be real about this. That's where we are. It's fine. You know what I mean? It's really unfortunate that Zach will likely be the the casualty on this defensive line. Somebody's got to go. Odd man out. My real feelings about this is just that they drafted him relatively high, and one more time, the Bears are not going to see their return on investment in Zach Pickens either. He's going to get cut. That's where we are.
Yeah, because he was a third round pick, second round pick, whatever, and they're not really.
He's a third round pick, and that is solid caliber, capital to be spent. Could have been spent on something else, somewhere else, in some other capacity. And unfortunately, what we're looking at right now is he's been replaced. There's double the depth over top of him, and I just don't see him. I don't see him making it. Chris has been paid for this. Like he's signed. He signed at a low wallet share deal. If he's outperforming Zach Pickens, it does not bode well at all.
Yeah, not at all. Because, I mean, it's one thing that, if Pickens, when he was on the field, was making plays, but he just couldn't stay on the field because he was injured. But he has been injured a lot, and when he's on the field, he don't do shit. So, I mean,
man,
what do you do with that? As a general manager or as a coach, it's like, nah, we got to move on without you, bro. I mean, because you're giving us nothing when you're here, but you're not even here. So, so no.
That's the tough part, right? The tough part is that there's clearly competition to be dealt with, and the competition does one or two things. We're looking at it with the two left tackles, and right now it's a motivating situation for both of them. Who's going to win that position? Well, we got a whole bunch of humanity at the tackle position on the defensive side, and I don't think it's motivated Zach Pickens at all. I think, unfortunately, it has probably demotivated him, right? Because we're just not hearing anything positive about this particular player. So,
hey fellas, you guys want to hear? I'll give you guys a hot take, kids and Trips. And I had to put some thought into this, and I'm pretty confident when I say this. Chris Williams is the second, anywhere between the first, second, and third most explosive three tech we have on the team. We're talking about Grady Jarrett, talking about Shamar Turner. We're talking about those two guys. Javon Dexter is less explosive than Chris Williams for sure. He's less explosive than Shamar Turner for sure. That's why I said Chris Williams is anywhere between first, second, and third most explosive three techs on the team. He's got an edge rusher body type that's strong enough to play the interior, which is why I think there's a strong outside chance that he bumps the shit out of somebody and gets on this roster and plays well for the Bears this year.
Well, now he was a practice squad guy, right?
He was.
So I mean that's development that we have seen, on the field. Because when 91 was on the field, it was like, oh shit, he kept flashing. Whereas 96, who was third round pick, is like, yo, who's this dude 96 on the field? You know what I mean? And that's when he's on the field. So, I mean, that's previous regime kind of stuff. And he's just not showing anything. He's not showing any development that I've seen. And thus far that I've heard about OTAs, it was either that he wasn't there, or that was last week, or that he was there and ain't did shit. So, I mean, I'm taking 91 over 96.
You know what it comes down to, Trip, is when you draft these guys, and sometimes you can make mistakes in the recruiting process and scouting and all that kind of stuff, and you can miss some stuff at times. But to me, I listen to Olin Cruz. One of these days, I'll get him on this show. I'll get him on here one way or the other if I had to fight him, and he'll probably beat the dog shit out of me. But I'll get him on here. Listen, but when you're getting D tackles and guys like that, those interior guys, you got to find killers. And I don't mean that, and I mean that YouTube, I mean that in the football way. I'm talking about guys that are just animals, just flat out animals. And one of the things that I noticed about Zach Pickens when he was in college, I was like, man, if I can get this a little bit more consistently, if I can see that a little bit more consistent, you missing the consistency. Like it'll show up. It'll show up in like a little pop ass spurt, and then you won't see it for several series. That's what I noticed about him. And that leads you to this conclusion. When you come to the final conclusion to draft again, is he a killer? Is he a dog? Is he consistently just out there trying to run through somebody's? And you won't find me give you that conclusion. I watched a lot of Zach Pickens film. He ain't got that in him so far.
I don't think he ever did, Nomad. Like, to agree with you here, I didn't see any of that in him to begin with. Like in his draft footage, didn't look like that.
No, he's got some spots now. He's got some spots.
But he's not a dog. He's not a dog.
I didn't see it. Like you can see it with Javon immediately. I didn't see it with Zach.
One of these days, I think we're gonna find out. Exactly what I'm talking about is Zach Pickens. You know when you hear people say, coaches say, we want guys that love football.
Yeah,
that shit ain't cliche, bro.
What was my man's defense? Henry Melton. Is that the dude that retired and then unretired and then retired?
Eddie Goldman.
Eddie Goldman, defensive tackle.
Don't love football, but you love that check.
Pickens is going that Eddie Goldman route. And it's like, dude is just like, yeah, I'm big, I can play football, I'm athletic and shit. Oh, shit, you want to give me how much money to play? All right. Well, yeah, I don't really feel like playing, though. So, I'm
Well, at least Eddie Goldman looked the part. Like, you know what I mean? He looked the part coming out of college. He sometimes played the part until he kind of realized, yeah, I'm really just in this for the check and not really in it for anything else. I don't think Zach been in it for the check. I don't think Zach really gives a rat's ass about any of this football stuff.
Hey kids, let me help you out here, sir. And you and Triple, I'll just ask you both equally. When I say this name, I just want you to say killer or not.
Mm-hmm.
You want.
Who?
Austin Booker.
Oh, he got killer on him.
Yeah, he got killer on him. Fuck you.
You see how long it took y'all to figure that out?
Yeah. But this is what I'm trying to say. Like, you see that when he's on the field, and you see, like, I saw that in his film. I ain't seen that when Zach's on the field. I ain't seen it in his film either.
So they went projection more than they saw the dog mentality in him. They thought they saw the in Zach Pickens, and which are huge athletically. He is gifted. When I tell you gifted, he is superior athletically than almost any defensive tackle that came out in that draft.
Okay.
But dog mentality, that killer instinct, is what you don't see.
Yeah, you're right.
And you can't coach that into somebody either.
No. You either got it or you don't.
Let me ask you this, Nomad. Dom Rob, dog or not?
I think he's got dog in him.
Really?
I think he's got dog in him.
I'm surprised you really answered it like that.
I don't think he has a skill set.
Again, athlete, yeah. Like insane athlete. Insane measurables as well. I don't know. Like when I say dog, I just don't know if he's got dog in him at the position we're talking about. Right.
Yeah, that's where skill set comes in. Because you can have the dog as an athlete, but if you don't have the skill set for defensive end, you know what I'm saying, the dog kind of whimpers as he's out there thinking and trying to figure out moves and all that. Zach Pickens has the talent, and the size and all of that, but his mentality on the field is just like, you want to rub my belly?
Real talk, man. This really happened in real life. One of my very close, my homeboy to this day. I don't know why, man, because he used to be terrified because I used to kick his ass at times. But he still loved me today. But when we was growing up, I got tired of people jumping on him and picking on him. So I had to. It's almost like you hear them stories about people putting gunpowder in their goddamn dog's food to try to get them spicy and shit like that. Yeah,
kill your dog.
So I was roughing my homeboy up, man, trying to getting him ready, man, punching him in the chest, getting him ready, man. You can whoop this cat. He went out there, no matter how much of that shit I did that like 3 times, and he still got his passive ass whipped because he ain't like that, man. Either you're like that or you're not like that. And I had to learn that everybody ain't made equally the same. I'm not going to sit there and brag on myself, but I'm just telling you, there are people out there that, especially when you get to a level this high, like you got to have a switch. You got to have a switch, and you got to have the autonomy to turn that shit on and off. Because when you get off the field, you got to turn that shit off. But when you get on that field, you need to have the autonomy and the power to flip that motherfucker and just go completely ham out there.
You mean like when Shamar Turner hit that offensive lineman in his dick?
That's that switch.
You may
also want to turn that one off too. Like that's an off switch there. That's an off switch moment. Great highlight film though.
You see what I mean though? It's like your homeboy, you getting tired of he your best friend, you love him, but he getting his ass kicked and he embarrassing you. You're like, I got to get him right. You know what I mean? You can't be around me and you getting your ass kicked, but I had to learn to love him anyway. You know what I mean? Because I love him. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's how it is with Zach Pickens. I think he's a very kind, soft guy, and I think he's the kind of guy that I would probably love him as a human being, but as a football player, it's just like, man, dog, if you decided that you wanted to eat right through anybody in front of you, man, you'd be $100 million player.
Yeah, right. What is in the chat? Richard Long is saying you got to believe that the opponent is trying to steal from your family.
Whatever it takes. If you're gonna put that shit in your head, it's like I can remember from when I was a child, even though I was physically superior than most of my peers, because I grew up around all my uncles. They were all bigger than me, and little kids didn't have no chance with me whatsoever because of them. And I was athletically gifted. And when I started playing football, I was so enthralled with the fact that I get to go out here and basically physically assault people. This is before they start putting the football in my hands and say, you know what, you faster and quicker and more strong than everybody out here. We're going to give you the football and let them stop you. Once I got the football in my hand, on the offensive side of the ball, I'm like that. But on the defensive side of the ball, I'm trying to annihilate your ass. And that stayed with me throughout my career. I was out there to assault you. and get away with it. You don't have that mindset, you fucked up out here in the NFL.
As AC Adams said, you gotta want to choose violence.
Choose violence. What? You got to choose violence.
What was my man's middle linebacker name from the program? That fucked up his leg before he go pro. But when he was on the field, he was like, "What'd you say about my mama?"
Man, dude.
When he was looking at the quarterback, like, you was the one that went after my sister that night, wasn't it? Like, I don't know your sister, man. I don't know your sister. You know what I mean? So he was psyching himself up mentally as like, these are the motherfuckers hurting my family. What? And then bow and laid him out. You know what I mean? So that mentality.
Trips, I chose this game because there was a part of me, because of my upbringing and what I've been through as a child. You know, I'm not pitying me. I'm just talking about the environment that I grew up in with Trips. I know your environment wasn't a whole lot different than mine. And it was violent.
Yeah.
In order for you to be violent and not take your motherfucking ass to jail, you need to find something that can channel that part of you. And football was my outlet. You know, I can be as violent as I want to be on that field. And who's going to stop me? It was going to be people on the sideline like, hell yeah, do it again. You know, that you could tell, like there's like, my mother was a single parent, right? And I'm her only son. And naturally, most kids like that I know end up being mama's boys. I was so far from that. It's ridiculous. What I think Zach Pickens is a mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
It's like Patrick Williams for the Bulls. You know, big specimens, you know, Adonis athlete built some bitches, but get on the field and it's like, or in the court and it's like, dude, play. You know how big you are. You know how fast you are. You know how strong you are. Go take that man's lunch money. But not, and like, well, who was that in the chat? Somebody was saying you have to be violent or you get violated. Richard Long. It's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Somebody trying to take your goodies, it's like you got to hit that dude in his jaw, you know, till he don't want to take your goodies no more. You know that would be a bad idea to try to take your goodies again. And growing up, you know, growing up in the hood, shout out MCH, CMW, Compass Most Wanted.
It was 1984.
Hey, for Team Lions run the NFC North, he says, is this a Chicago Bears channel? For sure.
Yeah, and so it's like that you have to, you know, have that will to, it's like, look, I don't know what your problem is, but you're not taking none of my shit. You're not violating me, none of that. So, you know, you got to have the willingness to throw hands, you know, if that's what the case calls for. And, you know, you got to, you know, connect with some of them. You might get your ass, you know, whoop, but you going to fight. You going to go out swinging. Zach Pickens ain't swung a lick. You know, hold over me like, you want to nibble on my ear? You know what I mean? That's that. Damn. We have seen not a damn thing from him. And so it's like, yeah, there is not enough violence from him, especially on the defensive line, where all those dudes have to be pretty much, you know, escape convicts.
All right, we gotta shut this. We gotta get ready to shut this down. I'm writing you something. I don't even need to write you that now. But we got Kwani B. I just wanted to say, man, the violent part about football, I'm almost ashamed to say it because violence is not something that I choose now. You know what I mean? Now that I'm more mature, you know, I'm a man now, and you know, you want to avoid violence at every cost. And you start learning all these different, you know, non-violent techniques and ways. It's just a way to go about life. You know, you don't want to be out there inviting, being a magnet for violence. And you're gonna end up in a hole some goddamn where with dirt on top of you. That's it. But as long as you're a guy in that age range and you got the outlet of playing football, let your fucking freak flag fly, brother. Get off on their ass. That's what I'd say to Zach Pickens. If I had his ear right now, I'd be like, man, if you don't get off on these motherfuckers, I know something. Get off on their ass every time you get a chance and let the results fall where they may. That's what I would say. But one last storyline that we need to talk about. That this was my favorite part of the day, kids, and we're gonna get up out of here. And that's your boy right here. That's your boy. It was so fucking refreshing to see him out there and be so calm and poised versus when the first couple of years he was in Chicago, he was a little, you could tell he was immature and didn't have a lot of media training and was just a little bit jumpy. He didn't come across right verbally all the time. It just didn't, you noticed there was something about Jaquan Brisker. But since he had time to reflect and to think about everything in his life, you talking about a football player, and they asked a lot of questions, kids, in Triple R, and there was some report, it might have been Courtney Cronin or somebody that asked him, did you contemplate retirement? And he just looked like, man, you out your mind. This is like what I want to say about Jaquan Brisker. Number one is I'm so glad to see you back out there, bro. I am so this is my spirit creature. If there ever was one. My body type is more like Kyler Gordon, but spirit creature, I'm this motherfucker right here. I'm this motherfucker right here. This is how I play. Physical. And no regards about nothing. I love the fact that he said there wasn't no chance in hell I was thinking about. He didn't say that, but no, I did not think about retirement. Ain't gonna think about it. I'm gonna go out there and play the football that I know I can play. He understands his injury. His concussion was particular. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it started with a V. But he vestibular. Says vestibular, yes. And he's recovered from it fully, and he's going to continue his reign of terror. And I am so happy for this cat, man. And I was kind of wanting they kind of asked him, but I think he played the role the way he was supposed to. He didn't throw anybody under the bus. He said he didn't feel right. And that's the reason why he didn't play. He didn't say that Flus kept him back. He didn't say any of that, which I'm glad he didn't, man, because ain't nothing good that can happen if you throw an ex-coach under the bus, even if it's true. So I was just glad to see him out there. I think he's on the precipice of something great. All he has to do is keep being him and just be healthy and be smart out there, man. But I was so happy to see him out there.
Well, I'm glad to see the kid too, man. It's been a long time. He is truly, this is the return of the heart and the soul of this team, of this defense. So with him back in phase, I'm interested in watching how well he performs. Because again, all he has to do is stay healthy. That's all that he has to do. And if he can manage to do that, this defense is already looking dangerous to me, man. I love the attacking the attacking style of what DA is going to bring to the table. This guy is just the perfect box safety for this job.
Yeah, it's nice to have Kwani be back out there healthy and hope he stays that way, knock on wood or do whatever stupid superstitious ritual, you do. He plays hard. And I believe it was Sophisticated or was it AC or somebody in the chat was saying not only did the Bears defense defense suffer after Billings went out, but also suffered when Kwani B went out because he made a lot of plays, and then he'd get up and do his little Karate Kid thing and waving like his Matumbo finger. He made plays be in the backfield at the line of scrimmage, and beyond, in run support and in coverage. So he is a very talented kid. And as long as he stays healthy, Dennis Allen is going to have fun, playing chess with these pieces like Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker and all the linebackers and everybody else. So, Kwani B out there, he's the heart and soul, defense kind of guy. So let's just keep him healthy and hopefully, he'll get back on track and, start eating again. And just remember, see what you hit and you be all right.
I got a question for you and Kez real fast.
What?
Is Jaquan Brisker a killer or not?
Oh, indeed.
Why would you even ask that question?
See what I mean? You got to have a multitude of those guys, man. You got to have like 50.
We do have a multitude of those guys, brother. We do, and you know who they are. The fact is, it ain't Zach Pickens. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it ever was Zach Pickens. I'm sorry, Zach. I'm sorry. I bet you're the nicest, coolest mother. Like, I think you're probably super cool, but I don't know if you really want to do this job that you got out there right now, man. And if you do, now's the time, without a question, without a shadow of a doubt. Now's the time to pick it up and do that damn job and secure your spot.
I want to say this last thing about Jaquan Brisker before we wrap this up, and you guys can speak on it when I'm done saying whatever. But I want to say this to him because I know when he sees his image on thumbnails or on any kind of thing, he sees it. You might not hear it back from him, but he sees it. He's going to see this show, and he's going to want to know who was saying what about Jaquan Brisker. I'm going to say this to you, man. Man, I so relate to who you are as a human and as a football player, because Lord knows, and I'm kind of speaking my inner self to you. Lord knows there's no plan B when you're playing this game. And when you're playing it with this kind of passion, like I know you have. And I'm just telling you what I have and what I know you got in you. That kind of passion, that kind of insistence on this game, there is no plan B. There's no such thing as Jaquan Brisker non-football player in this world, in this universe, because you haven't thought about that yet. And I don't want you to start thinking about it yet. You don't have to. Keep being the animal that you are. And if it's meant to be, you're going to be where you're supposed to be at the end of the day. And if it's not, that'll be that when it gets to it, because there is no such thing as, I never saw myself as anything but a football player for a long time in my life. And I know that's exactly what Jaquan Brisker is going through inside of him. That's what he went through outside of the media and outside of contact with everybody and telling everybody what he went through. Never, ever had he thought for a second of who Jaquan Brisker is outside of a football player. No, why? Because he hasn't had time to. This is the first time in his life that he hasn't played football. He hasn't had football. This is the first time in his life since he's probably a little ass boy. So when it happened to me, and the reality set in that I'm not a football player no more. I'm not a football player, at least right now. And it took quite a while, quite a amount of dark times in my life before I had to come to the realization you got to think about yourself, who is Nomad, outside of Nomad the football player. And Jaquan Brisker has gone through that. That was a straight, he's been through a pilgrimage in his mind. Trust me when I tell you guys that, because all those things have gone through his head. Every question that was asked to him has gone through his head. But the answer was an absolute no. And it would be the same for me. And if I went out there on that field and I lost my life on that field at that given time, I'd have been quite okay with it. Because, I've had dreams of what heaven is like. If anybody that believes in God can hear me when I say this, I've had dreams of what heaven is like. And the first dreams I can remember in my mind that heaven was like, I was definitely on the football field. First, there was other things going on in those dreams. I was with females, family, and all that kind of stuff. But first and foremost, I was a football player, because that's my inner spirit. That's what Jaquan Brisker is, man. He is a true football player. There is nothing but animalistic instincts in him. And I'm so glad he is Chicago Bear. And I want to see that guy hit his true potential here in Chicago. I just wanted to put that out there for him, because I know you're going to see and hear it. But that's how I truly feel about him. He's me. And he's just a younger version of me. That's it.
Wow. I'd love to add on to that, but I can't top that, man. I just want the young man to protect himself, take good care, play good football. That's it, man. Shout out to Jaquan B, man.
Yeah, definitely. He has his faith. He's a religious fella. So believe in what you got to believe in, because he's been putting in the work. He's a very good, on the field guy. He's a good off the field guy. He has a little side hustle. Check out his website. I think he moves hoodies and sweatshirts and stuff like that. So would love to see him stay healthy and progress here in Chicago. So, the opportunity's here. Reach out and take it.
Hey, kids, go ahead, kids.
No. I'm ready to do it, man. Let's call it a night.
I could tell.
I had a bit. I had a.
He got to churn a fresh batch of butter.
I got to churn butter and sell the hawk sales there for the next next morning.
Hey, kids, you know what, man? I love you just for the simple fact you dedicated, man. I love you for that, man. Straight up, man. Because it just shows the kind of guy you are, man. You just like, man, I gotta go do this for my guys, and you showed up, showed up. That's love, man. Kids, you know how we feel about you. I just want to sit on air so everybody knows it.
Because we know, you being out on the road, not only are you churning that fresh Canuck butter, but right tonight you could have been down at the hotel bar.
It's maple butter, bro. It's maple butter.
It's a chick down there, kids. I guarantee you, with some bad breath and some bad feet and everything. But
and don't let it be no tiny person convention.
And you know what? You get enough liquor in you, man. She might go for the night, man. I'm just saying, man. But you chose.
Man, I gotta wake up in the morning. I don't got time for all that. I gotta wake up. No time.
Right on. So go ahead and give out your pleasantries so we can get the hell out of here.
Hey man, we'll just keep it short and sweet here tonight because I can't see all y'all. Richard Long, I do a great job of not saying your name short. I just gotta put that out there. I can't do it. I will refuse to do it. But shout out to you for being all over the chat. Sophisticated thoughts. What up, FFG? Thanks for your super chat there earlier on. We appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the network. AC Adams, shout out to you, King Booker. Patty Laura, who came through. Shout out to you. I saw the Crooked Commish some time ago. Shout out to you as well, Commish. We will get down soon enough. AC Adam is out there with us. Who else was out there? Andre Bryant was all over the chat today. Big ups to you, Andre. Thanks for coming through and spending some time with us. D-Rocket Dream Burns is out there. Shout out to you, D.
Don't forget to shout out Samo. His man's probably kicked in and knocked his ass out.
Well, yeah, his meds probably did knock him out, right? And hopefully they did, because that means Samo's sleeping nice. Big shout outs to you. And like I say, try to counterbalance tomorrow, maybe with some weight. It was the best thing I could do, man, is counterbalance it. And if you can't do it with weight, do it with body weight. And that's tough as all hell. That's all I can tell you. White Ghost, shout out to you too. Ken Johnson. City Streets TV was all over the chat tonight, man. Thanks for coming through. By all means, like, share, subscribe on all three of our channels here. Kids of Canuck on YouTube. We are multi-streaming as per normal. We've got the Nomad Network, which is our home. Please, again, like, share, subscribe, comment on the episode here in either capacity. And by all means, check out the big homie underneath me. His name is Triple R. Sports Chicago style. He might be doing kung fu. He might be doing, there may be a guy cooking stuff up. Like you never know what's going on over there. It's always a fun time. That's for sure.
Hey, Trip. Baby kids got that look on their face. Hey, did you caca? Did you caca?
Get those baby Canuck Zerbers though. I get those.
Them cheeks are crazy.
Look at the jelly rolls and little baby fats.
Look how many toes that little dude got.
He got too many little piggies. He got way too many piggies.
You missing your toe? You missing your big toes already?
You got too many piggies. I get those baby Canuck Zerbers. I get those.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh damn. They got extra stuff going on down there in the feet. But hey, all right, okay.
So Chaz Canuck, that's the channel. Give them a subscribe over there on the YouTubes, as well as my channel. It's Sports Chicago Style, all kind of lifestyle stuff. And Samo and Kids and everybody else who's a fatty, Check out Trips and his exercise vlogs and get up and move those asses, get the sweat going. It helps with whatever diet you are on, whatever lifestyle food choices you make. Because remember, a diet is only temporary.
Oh,
that's
Trip.
a lifestyle change.
That's
Trip.
right.
You got to get that. You got to get in. You got to get some BCAA. Trust me, when you figure it out, you'll love me later on. BCAA, it'll make sure you ain't sore anymore. I had some BCAA this weekend. It's some sort of amino acid. Y'all in the chat know what I'm talking about. Like give brother a little bit of love. Get yourself some BCAA. All the soreness will go away, and you'll be doing all kinds of crazy kung fu art.
And don't be getting that don't be trying to cheat gravity and time, because gravity will pull everything down to earth, and time will too. Don't be fucking with that Ozempic shit, man.
I'm not talking about no Ozempic. God damn it, they're talking about amino acids.
I'm talking about everybody. Anybody that's listening to you and us, I'm talking about us. Don't be fucking with that shit, man. You better do it the right way. There's a certain podcast I know that took to that, and I'm just like, dog, I know it's immediate, and in people you're seeing it make a huge ass difference in people's lives, but there's definitely some side effects to that shit.
Yeah,
I've heard horror stories of that.
Yeah, I don't be fucking with nothing like that. But we try and do it not totally holistically, but we try and cut out the starches, the white sugars, the white flours, and things like that, the dairy. Replace it with the nut milks or the almond milks. Replace it with the whole wheat flours and things like that. Because it's not a change like going from a carnivore to a vegetarian or vegan. It's just subtle changes that will add up, over time, and still allow you to enjoy the foods that you like eating.
Hey, Trip.
Yeah.
Can you say nut milks for me again, please?
You want to sip on some nut milk? Coconut milk. Those are nuts.
Oh, snap. That was great.
Whatever way you try to make the little changes in your life, hopefully it's a little bit in the kitchen. You check out Shay Trips on his video recipes, or maybe it's a little bit in the exercise department. Check out, Trip. Or maybe it's in the self-defense department with Coach Trippin and Trip. Whatever it is, Sports Chicago style, we got you.
Love it.
Shout out to both of y'all, man. Kids of Canuck and Sports Chicago style, man. I can't make people do anything, but all I can do is encourage you all. And that's what I'll do every single time we do a show. Quick housekeeping notes. I gotta quit saying this, but soon before training camp, the website will be officially out there. It'll be stuff out there for everybody's channel. I'm talking about Triple R's channel, Kids' channel, what we do over here with everybody. This is a diving board for everybody, and we want everybody to eat. We also, and Samo I don't know how he feels about it, but we also got some plans for Samo, and hopefully we'll get his stuff going, get him some branding going on, and hopefully he'll get a channel and we can support his stuff too. But I always came into this looking for everybody to be able to branch off and do what they can do. It's just like any good record label, man. You have stars that come off of these channels, off these record labels, and they're supposed to do what they're doing. And this is the way it's supposed to be. Everybody is supposed to be their own individual entity, their own individual brand. I believe that wholeheartedly. Nobody's supposed to ever be stuck in one place forever, man. I don't believe in that. And I'm glad these guys got their own stuff going on, and we're going to help feed these flowers, man. That's just what we're going to do. But one thing I would say before we get out of here, and this is just going to be totally off the cuff. And it was just something I was talking to my lady about earlier. And so we got some podcasters out here. So the NFL and other brands, the NBA, the NFL, different big entities out there that are every year they do these things to try to ingratiate themselves with different communities, whether it be whoever it is, LGBT community, big thing right there. And there's a podcaster that I used to watch on a regular basis. He's a football podcaster. He was a coach. And all of a sudden, he just went totally just disrespectful towards that community, just indiscriminately. I was just like, where is this coming from? So what you find out about people is their truth. And what I would say to you guys is, at a time in my life, and I'm just talking about, I'm going to give you guys a story before we get out of here, a quick one. There's a time in my life where I was kind of like that guy, where I was kind of anti anything that wasn't like me. And, I just lived that life being an ignorant person. And what I had to learn was you never know who comes into your life and will help you change and grow. That's the key to life. If you're not moving, if you're not growing, you're getting close to the hole that's already prepared for you. You're getting closer there. If you're not growing, you're getting closer to that hole. If you're not prospering, if you're not flowering and growing at the same time, you're getting real close to that fucking hole that's prepared for you guys. What I want to say to you guys is this story about this kid. I'll just call him Josh. All right. It's a kid. I'm in this facility in Ohio, and they get him in there. And I don't know if I said this, kid. You stopped me. I probably told you guys privately, but I'm going to tell this publicly because I can't. This kid, and he was obviously a gay kid. It was obvious. And I'm around a bunch of, I think, heterosexual kids. And whenever I was there, the kid saw like weakness finds strength, right? Like you get a kid that's weak and vulnerable, they will go and naturally gravitate to the strength around them because that's where they feel safe. When he saw me, he would naturally gravitate to me and follow me whenever I was there, he'd be right there. He'd be like my second shadow. And it was irritating at first. It was very irritating. I was like, man, look, man, you would get the fuck away from me. I was going off on it. I was like, man, and it got to a point, one of the female staff there told me, she was just like, you know why he gravitates towards you, right? And I was just like, I don't know, but the shit getting on my nerves. And she was just like, you're strong. He knows he's safe when you're there. And that I took that home with me, and I had to think about it hard. I was so dedicated to these young people that I was willing to give anything I had to make sure that they, ascended. And so this kid, that I had to get used to him always being around me because he was safe around me. Nobody would attack him when he was around me. But when I took my 2 days off, man, they would really take off on this cat, dude. They would really I come back, he'd have big eyes, busted mouth, got his nose broken, all kind of shit. It was really, really taking off on this cat and fucking him up. And one day I just got sick and tired of it. I was just like, I went off on the staff. Whenever I was off, a certain staff would replace me on the schedule. And I took off on him. I didn't hit him, but I threatened him. And he could have got me in trouble and got me fired. But I told him, I said, next time I come in here, and he's messed up after one of your shifts, I'm gonna hold you accountable. We're gonna go outside and we finna get out. And he was just like, man, I thought we was cool. I said, no, we ain't that cool, motherfucker. I think you like this cat getting fucked up like that. And we had a whole thing about that. But anyway, I went to the administration and I told them, I was just like, we got to find something for this cat because it's not safe. It's not good for him to constantly be around this environment when he can find an environment of his own and be around people like him. And just, they were very resistant, but I kept being adamant about it. And I went back a couple more times and I finally got him to relent. And then we found a community on the outskirts of Columbus, Ohio. And so it was like for 3-4 hours at a time. I can get him away from there and let him be around people that's more like him. And it was so fruitful for this cat. It was so fruitful for him. Today, I can pull up Facebook and see him there, and he'll be talking to people that he knows that are connected to me because he can see my friends and all that stuff on Facebook. and he'll be telling them stuff about how good I was to him. I wasn't doing it because, you know, naturally that's who no, I was doing it because I knew he needed it. And so what I'm saying to you guys is, you know, even if you're, no matter what kind of person you are, no matter what kind of person you are, if you go out here in this life and you sow bad seeds because somebody is different than you, it could be the way I look. It could be the way Cares looks, the way Trips looks. If you're doing and making decisions based on you're doing it because this is the way this guy looks, I don't fuck with you. I don't fuck with you. If you're doing it because this is the way this guy goes about his life, I don't fuck with you. Because that's not right. That was a kid, and that kid was just trying to grow. He was just trying to grow. No, it was not my lifestyle. No, it was something that I was comfortable in. I was totally uncomfortable. The most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life. But I made something happen for that kid that changed his life. You will have opportunities to do that in the way that you respond to people. When you see them out in public, you see them in the grocery store, you see them anywhere in a restaurant, you'll have a choice to respond in kind to anybody. Forget how they go about their lives. What can you do to flower that? That's all I can say. Just make good decisions. Make good decisions for good decisions' sake and for people. You know what I mean? We're not out here to be adversaries towards each other because we don't look the same, we don't act the same, and we don't live the same. We're not here to be doing that. And the quicker people get over that and get that through their heads, the faster we can come together as a community, as a world community, not just a United States community, not just as an Illinois state community, or wherever we live, Canadian, wherever. The faster we get that through our head is that the differences make us better, we'll get better. We just got to understand it. But that's my take for tonight, man. I love you all. It's been a great show. Anybody got any other thoughts before I get out of here and close this thing down?
Hey, as long as people are living their life and they ain't messing with nobody, it's all consenting adults, mind your fucking business. Because you don't want nobody all up in your Kool-Aid talking about what's the flavor. You got too much sugar in here. You ain't got enough sugar in here. It's like, hey, go and make your own Kool-Aid. Leave mine alone.
And while you're at it, make some nut milk and maple butter. All right, let's call it a day. Peace.
It's all about love, peace, and respect, you all. And I'll leave you guys with that. And I'll leave you with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not, and I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, we are